How about the Bedlam series? Oklahoma State. Rhett Bomar's got it going on. I'm telling you, it's going to be a good ball game. Physical.
And in the Big 12 championship game, I think it's a sacrificial lamb for Texas the way they have played. We'll see you at halftime. Enjoy your game.
A century of bedlam. The Cowboys and the Sooners, defined by legends, elevated by upsets, honored by unforgettable performances. The 100th meeting between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma is next. When you grow up in the state of Oklahoma, you learn at a very young age what the Bedlam rivalry is all about. And you're not allowed to sit on the fence. You're a Cowboy or you're a Sooner. And what a great way to spend your Thanksgiving Saturday. You fry a turkey and you head inside Memorial Stadium here in Norman. The Sooners, led by 20 seniors on Senior Day, taking the field in front of yet another sellout crowd of better than 82,000 on hand. Oklahoma State at 4-6, and the Sooners of Oklahoma at 6-4. And hi everybody, Terry Gannon along with the former Pro Bowler Jamal Anderson. For Oklahoma State, this is their bowl game. They're not bowl eligible. Oklahoma is going to a bowl. Where they go will be dictated by what they do today. But make no mistake, this is about the Bedlam rivalry. Neither team wants to hear it from the other for a full year.
Absolutely, Terry, and you're going to have two great running backs in this game. Let me introduce everybody, or I should say reintroduce you to Adrian Peterson, a healthy Adrian Peterson. He comes into this game while 3 straight 100-yard games, and despite missing part or all of 4 games this year, he only needs 212 yards. And Terry, last time against Oklahoma State, 249 yards rushing.
Not a bad effort. Mike Hamilton on the other side, though, the second leading rusher in the Big 12.
Yeah, Mike Hamilton is a terrific freshman running back from Oklahoma State who, despite all the conversation preseason about Mike Hamilton, he's come in and had a great season for them, only 60 yards away from a 1,000-yard season, and like you said, he leads the Big 12 in rushing.
And speaking of stopping the run, right. Oklahoma State has struggled all year long. They're ranked 100th in the nation stopping the rush. However, the last 2 games they've been much better.
Yeah, they've been really, really good. I mean, unbelievably statistically, coming into this game, everybody's talking about Adrian Peterson and how many times he needs to run the ball. Well, they've shut down the run. These last 2 games, they've allowed like 76 yards rushing total, so it's going to be quite a challenge for Adrian Peterson, who needs over 200 yards to get 1,000 yards this season.
Mike Gundy, the former star quarterback, the head coach in his first year for Oklahoma State. Oklahoma won the toss. They've deferred to the second half, so it'll be Bruce Redden getting us underway here in Memorial Stadium. Appropriately enough, the sun peeking through after an overcast morning, temperatures in the high 60s and a breeze of about 20 miles an hour out of the south. Third member of our crew, Dave Lamont, out on the sidelines. Dave?
Well, Terry, Paul Thompson and Donovan Woods are starting today's game, but not in the positions they began the season at. Thompson opened the season for Oklahoma as their #1 quarterback and lost that job following the loss to TCU. 2 games after that, he was moved to wide receiver where he's listed as a starter. For Oklahoma State, Donovan Woods is starting at safety, but he began the first 2 games of the season as their starting quarterback, but was moved as Mike Gundy hasn't been happy with any of his quarterbacks all season long. We'll see how they do today.
Dave, thank you very much. And it's Al Pena who directs the offense on 1st and 10 from the 20. Swarmed under at the 15. A loss of 5 is DeJuan Woods, the junior out of Oklahoma City. Pena, the sophomore, and the transfer from Georgia Tech. He's taken over for Bobby Reed the last 2 games. Replaced Reed during those games, but for him, the 12 interceptions really the number. And for Oklahoma State all year long, the turnovers have been the problem. 2nd and 12. Hamilton looks for room, tripped up right at the line of scrimmage. Zach Latimer got him behind the line, and then he fell forward for a couple. The BASF starting lineups for Oklahoma State. Mike Hamilton does the groundwork, the second leading rusher in the Big 12. Dewan Woods through the air, 52 catches on the season for him. An offensive line that's been held intact. 4 of the 5 starters have started every game. Charlie Johnson was out with the flu. Kellen Davis is in there. Johnson's back, so it should be a solid offensive front for Oklahoma State. 3rd and 11. Pena out of the gun. 3 receivers to the near side. Throws downfield, got a man, but overthrows the intended receiver. That's Woods. He had a step. The Oklahoma defensive line very good up front. 38 sacks on the year. Thibodeau with the pressure outside. Dusty Dvorak, his final game here in Norman. Ingram, Latimer, Rufus Alexander, the core of the defense at the linebacker spots, and Reggie Smith, just a freshman, leading the way in the secondary. This is a very young secondary, and it's given up some big plays this year. Matt Fodge on to punt it away to Juwan Rankins, who is back at his own 40-yard line. So the Oklahoma defense doing its job. Almost got a piece of that one. Rankins from his 40 swarmed under. And the Sooners will start at their own 40-yard line after a punt of 41 yards and no return. Rhett Bomar, the guy leading the way on the other side for Oklahoma, just a redshirt freshman from Grand Prairie, Texas. And Jamal, I think unfairly through this season, has been under heat from Oklahoma fans.
Well, yeah, you know, the thing is, Terry, you had Jason White here, and he had the terrific career at Oklahoma, and all of a sudden, Rhett Bomar comes in, and everybody has the same expectations coming into this offense. He doesn't have the wide receivers Jason White had, and he doesn't have the experience. Let the kid grow.
Joaquin Iglesias in motion on 1st and 10, wide open into Oklahoma State territory. The big tight end, Bubba Moses, on the catch. Our BASF starting lineups for Oklahoma. Peterson, you know all about him. 3 straight games of over 100 yards after coming back from the injury. Offensive line patchwork because of all the injuries, especially at the center spot. Chris Bush starts there with a broken hand. Chester in the lineup at right guard, also with a broken hand, and he's had a knee injury this year. They've had all kinds of injuries on that offensive line and players playing out of position. Peterson, a big hole around the right side, spins inside the 30 to the 29.
Yes, Terry, obviously for Oklahoma, that's going to be a big key, getting Peterson going early.
They've struggled against the rush, as we've said. Victor Great, though, on the outside's got great speed, a former linebacker, getting to the quarterback. Thin at the linebacker spot. Jamar Ransom, though, their leading tackler. And in the secondary, you've got Donovan Woods, the former quarterback, at the free safety spot. Senior Jamie Thompson, a second-year starter, leading the way at the strong safety. Flag on the play.
Offsides, defense, number 93, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Walter Davenport, let you know what just took place. So Mike Gundy with his team on the road here in a tough place to play, obviously, and especially under Bob Stoops in his 7th year. He's only lost a couple of times, once to these Cowboys. Peterson falls ahead for a couple. We talked to Bob Stoops about his redshirt freshman, Rhett Bomar, and his development this season.
Well, I think just to be fair to Rhett, I think as much as anything, just experience on the field. Here's a guy that was redshirted a year ago, so he's been off the field for over a year. And in a new setting at the college environment and the speed of the game, and as well as the people around him, so many new faces as well. So, you know, so I think as much as anything, he's gaining experience. He's a talented, competitive, tough guy.
Peterson, a gain of 2 maybe. Good pursuit by the Oklahoma State defense. Jamie Thompson, the senior from Spar, Florida, and the transfer from Butler Community College on the hit.
Yeah, we're listening to Stoops talk about Rhett, and you see Peterson there on the carry. But, you know, the thing was Chuck Long also made the point of saying, hey, this kid has made tremendous improvement. He's more poised now. He's more patient. His performance is greatly improved from when he first started, especially on the road. Obviously, Oklahoma's at home today. And he said the thing that's most critical is his decision-making has improved, and he has a better rhythm and timing, and he's stepping into his throws. Again, just a redshirt freshman. He's going to grow into this system.
3rd and 1. Takes some time to be patient back there, too. And the game slows down a little bit once you've been playing for a while. Alan Patrick gets the call, and he's to the end zone. The sophomore from Conway, South Carolina. 27 yards, his first touchdown of the year.
You get a look here at Alan Patrick coming off the middle. It's a great pull right there, and then he makes one excellent cut right there to elude the safety and get up the field. And you know, Terry, when we talked about lineups early in the week, when we speak to coaches, we say, hey, who's going to be behind Peterson? They made a point of saying, hey, Kewan Jones is going to play. You're going to see Jacob Gutierrez, and you're also going to see Alan Patrick, because we're going to use all of these guys and keep this team off balance.
Remember when they started the year last year, they weren't talking about Peterson starting. It was Kewan Jones, but that changed after the first game. Garrett Hartley on for the extra point. Up and good.
You see Alan Patrick here breaking through, and watch this cut on Chase Holland. Breaks into the open field. Such explosiveness. And this is not even Adrian Peterson.
7-0 Oklahoma here at home. The 100th meeting between these two in this Bedlam rivalry. And Alan Patrick taking it home 27 yards. Rhett Bomar, the redshirt freshman, leading the way on that opening drive. And you talked about Oklahoma State having to stop the run. They haven't so far.
Well, you know, Vance Bedford said it, the defensive coordinator. He said one of the things that we have to do, obviously Adrian Peterson, he raved about, so this is a guy who can play on Sundays right now, but we have to be consistent. We can't let Oklahoma come in here and dictate to us, and that's what happened that first drive.
McLemore and Jones back deep, forget about it. With a 20-mile-an-hour wind at his back, Hartley puts this one once again out of the end zone. Check out our progressive drive summary. It was an impressive one and a quick one. 4 plays, 59 yards after the defense did its job on the opening series. Patrick, his first touchdown run of the year. So it's 1st and 10, Oklahoma State. Hamilton met right at the line of scrimmage by Dusty Dvorak. You know all about Iowa State taking on Kansas, trying to get to the Big 12 championship game. Let's get an update from John Saunders in New York right now. John?
Taco Bell update. You also remember last year Iowa State was in a similar situation and they lost to Missouri in overtime. Kansas's Brian Luke, that's their backup quarterback, 15 yards to Dexton Fields, and it ties the game at 21 apiece with under a minute left in regulation. Iowa State looking at doing it 2 years in a row, possibly.
John, you just can't close the deal. Woods with the catch, spins across the 30 to the 32. Good throw by El Pena that time, right to the junior from Oklahoma City.
You know, you're going to get a look at this right here. And Dewan Woods, is one of the toughest guys to defend in the Big 12. You see him right there make a nice break inside. Look how strong he is. He got the hand all over him, and he's still able to catch the ball. Darren Williams there to make the tackle, but you see his strength into that break. He attacks the football, and that's what he has been doing all season long, throughout his career, in fact.
53 catches this season. Younger brother of Rashawn, who's an All-American at Oklahoma State. Donovan's the other younger brother. This one thrown away. Good coverage that time. Woods was the intended receiver.
Interesting, Terry. The first drive for Oklahoma State, you see Larry Fedora coming in. They talked about how they've had quarterback problems, and immediately they tried some razzle-dazzle, a little bit of plays to try to establish Al Pena to get him relaxed. Instead of, you know, what people would suspect to see Mike Hamilton leading the Big 12 in rushing, they would come in and just try to run the ball down Oklahoma's throat.
2nd and 10. Payne's going to change the play at the line of scrimmage, which they do often. Play clock down to 5. They get it off. Here comes Hamilton. Right at the line of scrimmage again. Mike Hamilton, who came into the game needing just 59 yards to have a 1,000-yard season. Rufus Alexander too quick.
Hey, listen, 85 tackles. Coming into this game, he had 13 tackles for loss, make that 14. When Oklahoma defensively, when they can attack the line of scrimmage and penetrate, it's going to be a long day for Hamilton. If this consistently happens and they can get across the line of scrimmage on running downs, he will not get to 1,000 yards.
And Oklahoma, as you saw, has been very good against the rush all season long. They're showing blitz right now. Williams up at the line. Now he backs off. Trying to give Pena a little different look to change the play and go back into their original defense. Timeout, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and it worked on this. You see Oklahoma defensively was in a 3-3 situation and kind of moved the linebackers and middle linebacker moving around, and Pena really didn't realize what he should do on that play.
I know it's early, but a big play when we come back here with 9:52 left in the first. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Hummer. Check out the new H3 Hummer like nothing else. Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right. And drive insurance from Progressive, available only through an agent or broker. Relax, just drive. The Gaylord Family Memorial Coliseum, or Stadium, excuse me, here, officially known as that. 82,000 plus. On hand once again, still trying to get in. Not in yet. 3rd and 11 for Oklahoma State. Split the backs out of the shotgun. Hamilton runs right through, not by much though, up to the 35. That's it. It'll bring up 4th once again.
Yeah, a little trickery for Oklahoma State. In a 3-receiver set with 2 backs split, and Oklahoma was in a 3-3 defensively. You kind of feel like, especially in 3rd and long, you're definitely going to run. Well, Hamilton almost was able to squeak through the big gap that was left because of the 3 defensive linemen set from Oklahoma.
Juwan Rankin's back at his own 25, awaiting the punt of true freshman Matt Fudge. Oklahoma State unable to do anything against the Oklahoma defense yet. Plenty of time this time. Short punt. Rankin's up at his own 33-yard punt, no return. This is a series that began back in 1904. We weren't around, Jamal, but take a look at this. 47 years, that was the life expectancy back then. 8,000 cars as opposed to 240 million today. That's probably a good thing. $200 per year household income, now better than 37,000, and the total population just 82 million, now almost 300 million here in 2005. Few things have happened in the last century or so, huh?
Just a few. Wow. That was your Hummer, Terry. Nice. Thanks for letting us use that. Beautiful car.
The H3, they didn't have that either, the H3 back in 1904. Bomar, plenty of time. Malcolm Kelly into Oklahoma State territory, lost the football. Still free, we'll see. Got it back. Bubba Moses, who had a big catch on the opening drive.
You know what I like about this play? We're going to get a look at it right here. You see Rhett Bomar, he's got a guy wide open in the slant, but he sets up, takes his time, and delivers a pass. Sometimes with a young quarterback, when you have a guy wide open, they hesitate a little bit, or they're so gun happy to throw the ball so hard that they miss. Set up, had good feet placement, was in the shotgun position, and was able to deliver the pass to Malcolm Kelly, who's turned out to be his favorite target last couple of weeks, Terry.
Yeah, true freshman. That's his 26th catch of the season, a gain of 32. With Travis Wilson out, the senior with a fractured right foot. He's been the leading target last few weeks. They're going to review this. And Bob Stoops knows all about reviews after last week. Take a look at whether he had possession or not, and then perhaps the spot. He had possession.
He absolutely had possession of the football. I would think that the review is going to be about whether or not where the ball is going to be spotted, because the ball was, he had possession, took 3 steps with the ball, fumbled the ball, and then the Oklahoma player was able to pick the ball up. I think it might be a question as to whether or not he fumbled before he fell and Oklahoma gets the possession further up the field, or whether he was down.
Well, it's under review. Gundy's happy about that, but last week Oklahoma, and you probably know the story by now. I mean, both teams coming off of disappointing losses last week, but the Oklahoma loss to Texas Tech, 23-21 on the final play of the game. 3 plays on that final drive reviewed, and the last one certainly going against Oklahoma, and that was very questionable. But Stoops throughout the week has said, look, that game's over. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you know, he makes the point of, and Terry, he's a no excuse type of guy, and he said, listen, whether we agree or don't agree with the call, nothing is going to change. We can run it up to the Big 12 all day long, but nothing's going to change.
Now the question is, we're being told, was he down?
Right, down before the ball came out. And right there, the ball's
out.
That was a tremendous hit. The ball's jarred. Looks like it's coming out, but it almost is like he reached down and still had it on his hip.
He may have gotten it back. You're right. And it's tough to see from that angle. And again, the replay official, whose name is Terry Porter from Big 12.
Yeah, you know, Jamie Thompson puts his helmet right in the midsection of Malcolm Kelly, and the ball slid down. Now, I don't know if Kelly was able to reach down and hold on to it and maintain possession until he hit the ground, at which time the ball popped out. I think that's what the question is going to be.
Replay official only has those replays that we have. So he's looking at what we're looking at. The ball spotted at the 34 right now.
You know, Terry, this is going to be a tough one because you can't really see the ball. Once Jamie Thompson hits him, the ball slides down and you don't get a clear shot of exactly where the ball popped out from because Thompson covers the ball and Kelly has it on his hip.
Walter Davenport once again leading this crew, and it was under review. Now it's under further review.
Yeah. Bob Stoops, you know, you said it a minute ago, all too familiar with the review situation, and there were lots of people who were upset with that call last week because, you know, from my vantage point and what I saw, it clearly looked like the player from Texas Tech was not in the end zone. But
and there was no camera on the far side along the end zone. And a lot of people were upset about that, but that's often the case. So they are going to back this up, going back to the 41.
The runner was down on the 41-yard line. The line of gain was made. First down.
So it's a difference of 7 yards, and they do rule him down at the 41.
Yeah, and, you know, indisputable video replay evidence to overturn. So obviously the officials thought that for sure Malcolm Kelly had the ball when he went down before the ball popped up.
In any case, it's a first down for Oklahoma. Joaquin Iglesias, Malcolm Kelly, the two wideouts. Runnels, Peterson, play action, Momar. Caught, but Runnels falls down as soon as he catches it. And he had some room to run.
Terry, did he have, I mean, J.D. Runnels is going to be going back to the huddle wanting to hit himself up top of the helmet because Rhett Bomar does a good job. And this is what I like to see with Chuck Long. This is a guy, Rhett Bomar, who's had 10 runs over 10 yards this season. So when you get him rolling out and give him a run pass option and he hits J.D. Reynolds, looked like a good pass, didn't extend him too much, and Reynolds falls short when nobody was on the sideline.
Chuck Long, the offensive coordinator and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. Back when he was quarterback at Iowa, played for the Rams and the Lions. They operate out of the I once again. 2nd and 6 for the Sooners. Peterson popped after spinning and dropped after maybe a gain of 1. Jamar Ransom, the guy who hit him initially. So it's 7-0 Oklahoma here in the 100th edition of the Bedlam rivalry. Terry Gannon along with Jamal Anderson and Dave Lamont. If you just joined us, it was a defensive stop by Oklahoma setting up this first drive. Alan Patrick, his first touchdown, 27 yards to the end zone. Oklahoma State not able to stop the run on that first drive. And even though they've done a better job of it the last 2 games, they have not done it for most of the year. Sooners looking to go to the air now, though, on 3rd and 5. Quick out, there's Moses, he's got a first down.
Nice play call there by Chuck Long. Again, you give Rhett Bomar a situation where it's a spread offense, 4 wide receivers. Keep him back in the shotgun. Allow him immediately upon the snap to see the football field. Don't need a lot of yards. Run the route that you need to get the first down. And that was a 5 to 6 yard out, and he's able to complete that pass, get his confidence going. A couple of good completions, a couple of solid situations in the shotgun. And Oklahoma's moving the ball.
And this is a defense, Oklahoma State, that gives you a lot of different looks, and they bring a lot of people. They like to blitz. So far, Bomar's had no problems with it. Here's the blitz coming. Peterson, how strong is he? Knocked out at the 22. Should have been right at the line of scrimmage, and some extracurricular after.
It's the Bedlam game for a reason, Terry. It's going to be a little extracurricular, but the interesting thing, pre-snap, you said it, Oklahoma gives you a lot of different looks. You saw right before they snapped the ball, the 8th man come into the box, and what we mean by box is from the line of scrimmage to 6 yards from the line of scrimmage, and that Oklahoma keeps bringing the adjustment down of the extra man to try to contain Peterson. On that time, looked like they had him, but he's so strong, so talented, was able to break that, spin out, and able to get 7 or 8 yards up the sidelines.
Well, Peterson, we mentioned it, 3 straight games over 100 yards. 15 now, 15 in his career. It's amazing what he's done this season with a chance today to get to the 1,000-yard mark, even though he's been injured. Falls back on that one, and the Sooners, even though you see the signal from Oklahoma State, the Sooners get it back.
I tell you what, Terry, that pitch right there, Adrian Peterson, this has happened to me. I can tell you firsthand. You see right here, prior to the game, you watch the bad blood go on. Both of these guys coming out the same tunnel. This is like 45 minutes before the game. Peterson is right in the middle of that mix. You see the guys pushing back and forth. Nothing too bad happened. It's kind of exciting. I personally, I liked it. Brought me out of my seat. Yeah, you know, 1 or 2 myself. But it was a lot of fun to see. But that last snap, you saw Peterson take the pitch, and he knew there was nobody outside. And so he was looking outside instead of holding on to the ball and dropped it.
He was on the front line of that melee, though. Room to run for Bomar. Hesitates. Cuts back. Got a first down. And a look at what Bomar has really done the last 4 or 5 games. A gain of 13. More in prime time. Don't forget, ESPN, you got North Carolina and number 5 Virginia Tech. Big game for Virginia Tech. And then tonight on ABC, Notre Dame taking on Stanford, Georgia, and Georgia Tech. Check your local listings for the games in your area. Big college football weekend here. Thanksgiving week. 1st and 10 from the 13. 3 receivers to the near side. Dante Hickson, they give it to him, his first carry of the game, the senior from McKinney, Texas. Playing his last game here at Memorial Stadium.
Oklahoma State has been seeing Oklahoma in that spread offense, and when Bomar is in the shotgun, then they've been throwing every time, and that time they tried to run a little draw up the middle, and Oklahoma State defended it well. But prior to that play, I mentioned it a moment ago, Rhett Bomar, and you see his versatility. When he gets in trouble, he does have the ability to make plays with his legs, and that is an element that this Oklahoma offense has not had at the quarterback position for a couple years.
White's knee injury is really taking him. Initially, he had the ability to run. Bomar looks out to the flat. Never had possession. Incomplete. Reynolds, the intended, eventually came down with it, but didn't have it inbound.
Yeah, a little bit high right there, Rhett Bomar. You know, might be a little excited. We're getting inside the red zone when everything, you know, for a veteran, this is when you really knuckle down. And so this is where you might see a little bit of his inexperience. You get down there, you get a little anxious, and you want things so badly that you kind of throw it a little bit harder than you need to throw, especially when the guy is running a 4 or 5 yard out.
3rd and 9.
3rd and 10. Bomar changing the play. No pressure at all. To the end zone. Touchdown. Joaquin Iglesias with the catch. And Jamal, Bomar had all day long to throw.
You know, Terry, no pressure. You see Rhett Bomar here. He kind of looks in the middle of the field, freezes the linebacker and safety, and then he finds Joaquin Iglesias in the back corner. And what an excellent pass, because if Iglesias does not catch that, nobody else will. And you see his toughness right there. He's still looking. He's getting hit, and he's still looking to make sure he completed the pass for a touchdown.
Garrett Hartley on for the extra point. Up and good. The first drive was 4 plays. The second one, 10 plays. Taking it all the way down the field, and the Sooners rolling early. So to be up next to Mike Hamilton, the second leading rusher in the Big 12, to march the Cowboys down the field. Got to get it going. Comebacks needed. Check out our BCS standings, brought to you by Allstate, USC, and Texas, of course, at the top, then Penn State, LSU. Everybody's already assuming that USC's playing Texas in the Rose Bowl for the national championship.
Well, you know, you watch these games, Terry, and they've just been, obviously USC has had a couple close calls, Notre Dame and Fresno State, but they've been heads and tails this from the beginning of the season to the end, the top two teams.
And I agree with you.
But they do have extra gear. You're right. I agree. They have games to play. They still have games to play. And remember a couple years ago, Colorado walked into that Big 12 championship in an upset and won. And USC still has to play UCLA December 3rd in what is now the Pac-10 championship.
Absolutely. He's going to play on December 3rd here on ABC in the Rose Bowl. You know, USC playing UCLA. Put up 500 yards in the air a couple of weeks ago in the game we did. Back to the 23rd drive of the game for Oklahoma State. What about that Kansas-Iowa State? Back to John Saunders in New York.
Well, Terry, Pontiac game-changing performance. Second consecutive year that Iowa State loses in overtime in a game that would have sent them to the Big 12 championship game. That was Scott Webb with the field goal in OT from 34 yards out. So Kansas comes back and gets the win. As a result, Colorado backs in to face Texas as part of Championship Saturday.
John, that's incredible. I mean, that is incredible. Here's an interception.
I mean, speaking of incredible, great job of Rufus Alexander catching the pass over his shoulder, wide receiver style, and being able to return it for Oklahoma.
Clint Ingram, the guy who got it.
Sorry.
There's a flag on the play, and we'll sort it out.
Can you tell I love Rufus Alexander?
Yeah.
I'm giving him plays he doesn't even make. No, Clint Ingram, that was a great job.
Holding
You're
on
going
the
to see a
return.
replay here. Pena rolls out, has an option here, and he throws under pressure, and you see Clint Ingram go over his head, stop it with one hand, and is able to catch the ball and return it for Oklahoma.
Block in the back on the return team, number 99. First down.
So C.J. Ayu, who applied the pressure to Al Pena, then it's called for the penalty.
You know, it's like the drills that most teams run, especially pros, college level, even in high school, Terry. When a defensive man catches the ball, automatically everybody looks to try to block somebody. And having not been in that situation, because they're on defense, they have a tendency to clip and just fly after people. You usually see people go after the quarterback.
The 17th interception thrown by an Oklahoma State quarterback this year. They have lost 17 fumbles as well. That's been the biggest problem. Right at the line of scrimmage is Peterson. Not much going on for him so far. Special guest on the sideline with Dave Lamont right now. Dave, who do you have?
Well, I'm on the Oklahoma sideline where you'll find Roy Williams here. When that interception happened, I thought you were going out on the field. You got so happy.
I was about to go lay a block, but you know, I gotta remember I'm in the NFL, not in college no more.
There wasn't any way you were going to miss number 100 of this rivalry, were you?
No, never that.
What does it mean to the players on this sideline, this rivalry?
It's a big rivalry, you know, especially with the in-state and in the Big 12. We don't like them, and they don't like us, point blank.
What do you think of Oklahoma's chance this season and maybe what they look like for the future?
They have a lot of upside, and I'm really excited about this season. I mean, next season and this season, you know, coming playoff. I mean, not playoffs, a bowl season. They got a lot of momentum going into next season.
Now, you got any words for our man Jamal Anderson upstairs?
What's up, Jamal? You good? That's my boy, man.
Down here now, the other side, guys, Thurman Thomas and a few of the Oklahoma State sides. So, interest of fairness, I'll head over there shortly. Back to you.
Yeah, it's a long walk. I know you're going to be tired, Dave. Well, he was talking about a playoff and maybe wishful thinking.
Well, listen, he's coached by Bill Parcells, who that's what he talks about all day long. So you know Roy and them after that loss to Denver on Thanksgiving, it's got hammered into the playoff possibilities and how you have to win those games.
Great player in college, winner of the Thorpe Award. Bubba Moses dropped it, would have had a first down. It was just a little bit behind it. Hope you caught the Skins game, the Merrill Lynch Skins game earlier on ABC. Final holes coming your way tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific time. And Fred Funk, a big putt to close out the day today. So a Thanksgiving weekend tradition here on ABC. Tiger is there, and Freddie Couples, Annika Sorenstam, and Funk. The putt at the end, $225,000. You and I stand over a putt for $15.
Yeah.
You know, and knee shake. Little strong all the way through Cody Freeby, the sophomore from Fort Worth, 39 yards, and they'll bring it back out to the 20. So the upset by Kansas. We check out our standings in the South. Texas, of course, going to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game. But in the North, everything on the line today. And Iowa State, again, can't get it done. So it's Colorado at 5-3.
Backing in.
Going to take on Texas.
Colorado.
Most would say going to get smacked by Texas.
Backing into the Big 12 championship to play Texas.
1st and 10. Out of the eye now. Gain of a yard, maybe. Hamilton swarmed by that Oklahoma defensive front. Pendleton there, Dvorak there.
You know, Terry, it's going to be tough because these guys, you see the penetration from Oklahoma. You know, Dusty Dvorak is a guy who hasn't practiced. He doesn't practice very much in the past couple of weeks, but come Saturdays, he's healthy and he's helping this Oklahoma team get the penetration. All of these guys are working to get across the line of scrimmage to contain Hamilton.
Pena out of the shotgun now, changing the play. You wonder how long he will go here in this one. He's replaced Bobby Reed the last couple. Shovel pass, not going anywhere. Well read. Corey Bennett right there. Latimer there. Thibodeau there. We talked about the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game coming up. Texas, of course, right behind USC overall, but taking on Colorado. And the Buffs, they've got a tall order in that game.
Oh, man, listen, Vince Young, ever since he put the cape on at the Rose Bowl last year, he's just been unstoppable, and it's going to be tough to stop. You know, Jamal Charles and the Texas ground game is rolling defensively. They've been solid all year. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be a game, but Gary Barnett and that Buffalo team have played spoiler before there.
3rd and 12. Got rid of it. Barely. Zach Latimer all over Al Pena.
You know, Al Pena's going to get away with one. Zach Latimer had him in the grasp, and it looked like he was down. Looked like he was really, really close to the ground prior to throwing the ball. You're going to see Pena here under pressure. Zach Latimer catches him, and right there it looks like he's down before he releases the ball.
Well, he may have been on top of the defender, though. Did that knee touch or not? 4th and 12, the punt unit on. No call for the review so far. And Rankin's back at his own 44. Fodge right off the side of his foot.
It's almost as if he knew, you know, I know Fodge didn't intend to have a bad punt, but like they didn't deserve that field position. That was really, really close. I felt like Pena was down, and then Fodge goes out and Pooch kicks the ball, gives Oklahoma great field position.
24-yard punt.
You know, you see it right there. Look, Terry.
Yep, that knee and good part of the leg.
And that ball is not released yet.
Should have been back on the one.
Somebody's going to be mailing tapes to the Big 12 again this week. They'll get a FedEx from Bob Stoops.
Well, the point is, though, if Mike Gundy's club doesn't turn things around here, that one play is not going to mean anything. Right now, they've got to figure out a way to stop the Oklahoma offense and to do something themselves on offense. They haven't done anything. Neither is Peterson.
Well, you know, you're getting penetration from you know, different sides of the Oklahoma defense. Oklahoma State's, you see the guys making adjustments, and then on that play, Donovan Woods, the quarterback, comes up and makes a play. So they got cornerbacks involved. You got the strong safety coming down to create that 8 or 9 man situation in the box, so Peterson doesn't have an opportunity to have any lanes.
7 carries for only 9 yards. We came on telling you he needed 213 yards to become 1,000-yard rusher for the season, and he's missed part or all of 4 games this year with that high ankle sprain. Bomar, quick throw on the slant, complete, shy of a first down though. Joaquin Iglesias with the touchdown catch on the second drive, a gain of 8.
Nice play by Rhett Bomar, standing back. Joaquin Iglesias again on a slant route, comes in, does a great job breaking inside of the defensive player of Oklahoma State, is able to pull that ball in.
100th showdown here in the Bedlam rivalry. It's been all Sooners so far, even in that scuffle before the game, I think. 15 minutes in the books here in the 100th edition of the Bedlam Rivalry. It's been all Sooners so far under blue skies. We had overcast skies. It was chilly this morning, but temperatures in the 60s and a bit of a breeze, but a gorgeous afternoon here in Norman. Oklahoma up by 2 touchdowns. Trying to run the football to the right side. Kewan Jones inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. So Terry Gannon back with Jamal Anderson, Dave Lamont down on the sidelines. In the first quarter, a total of 12 yards for Oklahoma State, 7 on the ground, 5 in the air. Can they find a way?
Well, I mean, there are 2 things that are apparent so far in this game. One is that Oklahoma State cannot move the ball. Number 2 is that they are intent on not letting Adrian Peterson win this football game for Oklahoma.
Yeah, under 10 yards
they're
in the
not,
first quarter.
But offensively, they just can't get anything going. Mike Hamilton's not doing nothing. Pena's been pressured, and Oklahoma's defense is just coming across the line of scrimmage like savages.
Al Pena gets the start today for Mike Gundy after coming in relief the last 2 games. At what point do you pull the trigger and say, okay, let's go back to Reed?
Well, you know, it's going to be tough. It's still early in the game as we watch Kewan Jones here break it up, mix it up for Oklahoma. But he comes into this game, Terry, having last week off the bench for Baylor, he was 25 of 42 for 351 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So they're kind of figuring maybe he's going to get his mojo eventually. But you said it, Gundy, he will not hesitate to mix it up in his quarterback position and to pull a guy and bring somebody else in.
12 total yards, as we said. Oklahoma's 137. Alan Patrick in at the tailback spot. Omar with time again over the middle. Moses, touchdown, Sooners. Bubba Moses, 26 yards. It's too easy, Jamal.
Terry, you gotta, Chuck Long, I know is smiling, yes, because they scored the touchdown, but more importantly, Rhett Bomar sits back there and he gets the ball and has good form when he delivers that pass to Bubba Moses down the middle of the football field for a touchdown. And Donovan Woods was there trying to make the play, but it's a touchdown. And the thing was, he has another guy wide open running down the middle of the field, but has the poise and presence of mind to deliver a good pass and not be too excited about seeing that.
Extra point up and good by Hartley, so it's 21-0. Splits the scene, the big tight end, James Bubba Moses, with his first touchdown catch of the year. Oklahoma State's had some big wins in this series, including back in 2001, 2002. The Sooners, number 4 in the BCS back then, but right now they're in need of a huge comeback. Oklahoma up 21-0 in the opening moments of the second quarter. Oklahoma State with an opportunity here in the second quarter to work with the win. They haven't done anything on the ground or in the air.
No, and I tell you what, lucky for Pena, because against the wind in those last couple drives, he was 3 of 7 passing for only 5 yards with a touchdown. So I know he's going to be happy to go in the direction of the flags.
Daniel McLemore trying to reverse field, got a little bit of a hole out there near the 30, but it closed quickly. Jason Carter with a hard hit, a little extra after the whistle. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. The stats all in favor of the Sooners so far, Jamal.
Yeah, this is, look at the rushing yards for Oklahoma. And, we said it, Adrian Peterson hasn't even got started yet. 58 yards there, 79 passing, total yards 137. But here's the big key, the time of possession. And the third downs, 5 of 6 on third downs.
And the 1 turnover, the interception by Ingram. Julius Crossland in for Hamilton now. Bigger back, but on the roll, there goes Pena. Gain of 3. Run out by Rufus Alexander, and I do mean run.
Yeah, you see it all the time, Terry, in a bootleg situation like that when a quarterback hasn't been having a good game so far. Instead of trying to throw it down the field, when they think they have the corner, they're just going to run it. He didn't even attempt to throw it. He just tucked it to try to run just to get anything positive going for Oklahoma State.
Check out the scores, bottom of the screen. Here on another busy day of college football. Pena down to 1 knee before he got it to Crossland.
I mean, he sacked himself. Pena just sacked himself.
You make it sound like you wanted to.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
It's
kind of like the snowball rolling down the hill on Oklahoma State. You know, he rolls out for 4 or 5 yards, and then he turns around and gets his, the center stepped on him. You see right there, the center steps on him when he and he gets his foot caught underneath the center, trying to turn around and hand the ball off, and he goes down.
Been that kind of year. 1-6 in the Big 12. Oklahoma State. Pena changing it on 3rd and 9. Crosland, the big back, the former fullback, fell ahead for a gain of 1. That's it. Dusty Dvorak, the senior from Lake Dallas, Texas, on the hit. Our Aflac trivia question: within 5,000 people, what's the combined population of the 4 towns that produced Oklahoma's 4 Heisman Trophy winners? If you're an Oklahoma fan, you live in this area, you know this, you've heard this, but outside of this area, perhaps not. And for those of you outside this area, here's a little hint. One is from Miami, one's from Cleveland.
I'm speechless.
Just remember I said that, right? That's all. Fodge on after the 24-yard punt. This one much better. Under pressure, too. Rankins dropped right at the 20. Luke Frazier, good tackle after a punt of 48 yards. That's something positive. That was with the win. Back in a moment. Here on the campus of Oklahoma Memorial Stadium on the east end. Under blue skies now. The Sooners up 21-0. Alan Patrick, the lone setback. Here he comes. Got a good block initially, but right at the line of scrimmage, swarmed under. Nathan Peterson, the sophomore from Tulsa, on the hit.
Yeah, and they've done a good job though, Terry. Again, the guys are swarming to the football when Oklahoma runs the ball. It's that penetration again. And whoever runs the ball from Oklahoma, they're just not finding the lanes. Oklahoma State has done a good job of filling the lanes and being consistent defensively when it comes to the run.
Pretty good day so far for Bomar in the air, too. You saw his numbers, including the 2 touchdowns. Peterson back in for Patrick at tailback. Oklahoma State showing blitz. Peterson runs right by it. First down at the 30. Adrian Peterson. So you had time to think. Now the answer. Our Aflac trivia question: 5,000 people. You got to get it within that. What's the combined population of the 4 towns that produced Oklahoma's 4 Heisman Trophy winners? 24,038. And I didn't lie. Miami and Cleveland. Oklahoma, that is.
You didn't lie, you misled.
That's right. I'm willing to do that in the name of the Aflac trivia question. Jason White, though, Billy Sims, Steve Owens, and Billy Vessels. Back in 52. 7 national championships here at Oklahoma. Dropped by Manuel Johnson, and he was gone. The freshman had no one in front of him.
Wow. And Manuel Johnson wide open. You look at Rhett Bomar right there. He knows he's thrown a touchdown pass, and Manuel Johnson, bad place to hit him, boys, right in the hands.
He's ready to give you that look, motion to the stands, Bomar was, and celebrate.
Terry, I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing worse. It has happened to me. It's happened to a lot of great players when you drop one, when you know you're going for a touchdown. There's nothing worse. So you got to run back to the huddle, and everybody's going, already now. Great.
You notice out there he included himself in the great player category. Gutierrez in at tailback right now. He hits the call. 5'6", 186 pounds, maybe about a yard and a half shy of a first down. Jonathan Woods on the hit. You certainly fall into that category.
No,
Mr. Anderson.
I'm just saying, I'm not talking about me being a great player. I'm saying it has happened to a lot of great players. Maybe not one of them, but I'm just saying it has happened to me. Did you hear the whole crowd scoot when Gutierrez ran the ball?
You're backpedaling now, by the way.
I know, gosh.
3rd and 2 coming up for the Sooners.
All the hate mail I'm going to get from Texas.
Peterson back in. Got 27 yards so far. Play action. Plenty of time. Good defensive play by Jamie Thompson to break that one up.
Yeah, I tell you what, because Rhett Bomar looked like he had his man. Jamie Thompson comes in there at the last second and is able to deflect it. It's a tough pass when you got a guy running a post. You see right there, Rhett Bomar throws it up and over, and Thompson comes in smart, puts one hand on the shoulder pad and reaches the other hand for the ball. It's a great play.
Thompson, the senior and the veteran in that secondary. It's young. Cody Freebie on. Daniel McLemore back at his own 20. Good punt. Good coverage. Down he goes. At the 15. 46-yard punt. Lost a couple on the return. Joke and yet Getcha swarmed him at that point. Back here in Norman. Not yet, but the oven's been preheated. It's 21-0 Oklahoma. Mike Gundy trying to figure out some way to move the football and to stop the Sooners. Look at that, under 1 yard a play. And taking over just outside of their own 15-yard line. In a series that's been dominated by Oklahoma through the years, 76, 16, and 7. However, Oklahoma State pretty good as of late. They've won 2 of the last 5. In fact, here in Norman. Pena under pressure. He goes down inside the 5 at the 2. Speaking of the series, the history of it, down to the field, and Dave Lamont.
Well, Terry, began in 1904. They played the game in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Of course, this is the 100th anniversary of this Bedlam game. And this is probably the only time you've ever heard of the floating touchdown. They played in a field that had a creek running along one of the sidelines. The ball went in the creek. It was a live ball. Both teams went after it, players dunking each other in sub-freezing temperatures. It was finally swam across the goal line by an Oklahoma player. Hence the floating touchdown. By the way, OU won that one 75-0. Right now they're on top here 21-0 on a very dry and windy day, but thankfully for me down here, no sub-freezing temperatures.
75. That was a lot of points in 1904, wasn't it? Flag on the play. And we talked about the difference in the last century. Wow. 47 years, the life expectancy. You wonder in 2055 what the life expectancy will be and how we're going to pay for everybody.
Obstruction on the defense, 15-yard penalty. It's obstruction on the sidelines.
Obstruction on the sidelines by the coach, or more than one coach. Brent Venables, Bob Stoops there, and they got warned a couple of times in the Texas Tech game.
You know, it's just a penalty you don't see called very often unless the officials are, I mean, it's early in the game still. It's not the third or fourth quarter. And this is not a hotly contested game.
You also hear them give a warning to the coaches prior to throwing the flag.
And then,
Dave, what do you have?
Just for the viewers who have never seen or been to a game here, there is not a lot of room on either sideline for anybody to go anywhere. You've got players' benches on both sides backed up against where the stands are, so it's a crowded situation to begin with. Now, what exactly Coach Stoops may have done to get that penalty, any of the coaches, I can't say. But both sidelines now, they just warned on the Oklahoma State sideline where I am. They told Mike Gundy, hey, be on the lookout, because we'll call you for that too.
It's very tight on the sideline. We have the camera that's set on rollers. We've got to have 2 of them. You can't go past about the 40-yard line because it's so tightly bunched with the players there. Julius Crossland dropped one.
You know, give him 5 yards. Nothing is still working. Pena goes back and stumbles, and now he's trying to throw up all to Julius Crossland. Crossland's open with blockers in front of him. Drops the ball.
Two total yards for Oklahoma State so far. -3 yards rushing.
So much for the favor of going with the wind offensively.
They have yet to convert on 3rd down. Quick drop for Pena, throws behind the intended, almost picked off, almost caught by Crossland, but incomplete. Clint Ingram got a piece of it, and we go back to New York, and John Saunders for a report on Florida.
Already with a 7-0 lead, Terry, and then this field goal attempt is blocked by Marcus Thomas. Reggie Lewis picks it up on the bounce and goes 52 yards for the touchdown as Florida has doubled up Florida State now 14-0. Terry.
Sunshine battle, both teams 7-3. And when's the last time you saw that?
I know. And you know, the thing is, after Florida State won that first game against Miami and were rolling up until the Virginia game, it just looked like they were going to be, even at a young team, they were going to be a team to compete for the championship. And all of a sudden, you're down 14-0 with a 7-3 record.
Things turn around quickly. Kewan Jones back to the 35-yard line. 51-yard punt. When we come back, Adrian Peterson back to the field. For Peterson, only 27 yards so far, trying to turn that around and keep the offense going. More that right there. They'll take you through all the highlights, and also on this weekend of being thankful, take a look back at some of college football's best moments and images. Peterson on the sideline for the moment. Alan Patrick, who's already had a touchdown run today, is in the backfield. Actually split out right now. 3 receivers to the near side, 2 to the far. Omar, quick throw. Here's Patrick. Got a block, but not enough for one. Good play by Jamar Ransom.
Pass is complete to Alan Patrick.
As Peterson gets set to come back in. A lot of talk around these parts about how many carries he's getting. He's got 520, and he's not even through 2 years. You look at some of the great names who went on to have great careers in the NFL. Marcus Allen, the most carries among them with 433 for his career. Now, others who carried it more, but I mean, Peterson's going to have over 700 by next year. Do you think it's too much?
You know, it's a lot of carries, but the lifespan for a running back is just not that long. So when you have a guy like Adrian Peterson, I think a lot of it has to do with the size, stature, and structure, and how that running back runs the football. When you have a guy like that runs the way he does, you just got to give him the ball. He's a thoroughbred. He's a horse. He's the type of guy who can continue to run the ball, and he gets stronger with the more carries he gets. And he clearly showed that last year with what he did with over 300 carries last year, 1,900 yards. And in a similar situation, it's kind of like you get to the third and fourth quarter, Peterson all of a sudden on his 25th carry breaks 80-yard run.
What about his running style? I mean, people last year talked about Eric Dickerson and the straight-up running style. Does that contribute to it?
He's a taller guy, and he runs high. He runs up and down, but at the point of contact, he does a great job of lowering his pads to get through holes or run through people. Unlike Dickerson. Dickerson was just more straight up and kind of a gazelle.
Kewan Jones in the backfield right now. Bomar's been terrific. Underthrows Lendy Holmes this time, though. Well, we got 2.5 more quarters to talk about Adrian Peterson and what he may do on the next level. Total yards, 2.
You know, and Mike Gundy talked. We asked him about this, the difficulty Oklahoma State has playing on the road and how bad their record has been. He said, hey, listen, I'm hoping that the emotion of this game will offset the way we played on the road and how tough it's been for us on the road. And you saw some emotion in the beginning when we almost had bedlam right before the game, but on the football field, Oklahoma State offensively is just not getting it done.
Yeah, about 45 minutes prior to the kick. Teams going at it towards the entrance to the field. A melee. This one down at the 22. So a punt of 40 yards, no return. And the Cowboys with another chance offensively. You saw their yardage a moment ago. They have also only managed 1 first down in this game. It's 6:40 left until half. Keep watching every time they come onto the field to see who leads them at quarterback. So far, it's been Al Pena.
If I'm Larry Fedora, what I'm going to do is try to settle his team down and get the ball in the hands of Mike Hamilton either through the air or the ground.
Ricky Price, nowhere to go. Hit hard. Sijoke Onyenagetcha, the senior from Richmond, California.
Terry, you can put it on the chalkboard. The name of this game is penetration, and Oklahoma is just beating Oklahoma State to the punch every time. When it's a run, they have 4 or 5 guys across the line of scrimmage, and you're not going to get anywhere when you're seeing that all game long.
You watch Oklahoma play today, and you wonder how they have lost 4 games, but they've lost 4 games to very good teams. Texas Tech, Texas, UCLA, and TCU. Pena on the run, throws, flag on the play. Woods never had a chance. Reggie Smith, the true freshman from Edmond, Oklahoma, on the coverage.
You know, I was wondering when Pena rolled out and had a lane, the holding call on Oklahoma State. He rolls out and he has the sideline again, and you know, I know he's looking at DeJuan Woods up the field, and I was like, he might just run the ball again instead of trying to complete that difficult pass, which he wasn't able to complete anyway.
The roles may be reversed at some point.
Hold. Offense, number 87. Decline. 3rd down.
Al Pena, 3 of 9 for 5 yards. And Bobby Reed waiting on the sidelines, the redshirt freshman from Houston, who is really the long-term hopes, the guy who's been heavily recruited. And after Donovan Woods started the first 2 games and then switched to free safety, Reed was supposed to be the guy, and he was injured. This one for DeJuan Woods, double covered.
You know, his intentions are good. You're trying to get the ball to your playmakers. You got to do something to get it going, and you got to get the balls to the guys who've been making plays for you all year long. And you see Reed's numbers there, 48% completion rate percentage and 600 yards passing, but he just wasn't getting it done. Not to the pace that Mike Gundy wanted to see. Got replaced last year, a horrible game down in Baylor for the first half for Oklahoma State, and it's just not happening today for Pena, and he's trying.
He also had a foot injury, missed 4 weeks, missed 3 games, was starting to play well, and went down early on in the season. And then it's been tough coming back. 6th punt for Matt Fodge. They'll let this one roll. Takes an Oklahoma State bounce. And down inside the 45 for a punt of 35 yards. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 7:30 Central Time on ESPN. We head to the NFL. The Saints taking on the Jets. And then on Monday Night Football, 8 o'clock Central. This is a great one. The Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger back from injury, taking on Peyton Manning and the Colts. The Colts undefeated at 10-0. And you start to wonder, because you start to think this is late in the season. Can they do it, Jamal?
You know, you couldn't have a better matchup. You know, sometimes you get stuck with Monday night downers. Sometimes it happens late in the season with the schedule if the team's not playing well, but this is, you dream about a game like this, the way the Colts have been playing, and obviously Big Ben's going to be back because the Steelers just aren't the same without him.
They run the counter to Kewan Jones, gain of 4 up near the 49. Jones, the senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, playing his last game here in Norman, and a guy who has rushed for better than 2,200 yards in his career. The starter before Adrian Peterson came on the scene. Kind of a terrific career.
How about that? You know, you talk about Peterson and what he did last year, and you go, well, guess what? Our backup has over 2,000 career rushing yards as well.
Peterson back in, tripped up near the line of scrimmage, and they have lost one.
He was tackled by Victor
Adrian, 6'2", 218 yards. So you put Peterson and Jones together. Look at the number. First time since '87 that they've had 2 for over 2,000 yards.
Yeah, and you know, coaches talk about it all the time, especially on the next level in the pros, about having a backup where there's no drop-off. You see it in some situations in Indianapolis and Oakland, and people who like to stockpile running backs, and you know what Belichick has been able to do down in New England, and then you get in a situation like this. You see Peterson, everybody's talking about Peterson, and then you got to worry about Kewan Jones, his ability and what he brings to the table in the return game, catching the ball, everything.
Bob Stoops out on the field to call a timeout. We talked to Coach Stoops earlier in the week about Adrian Peterson.
And having him back, you know, really changes us. It really gives us a strong, different dynamic that we didn't have when he's not out there, and you know, so you know, he's a strong presence on the field, and he has that ability to make those big plays, which you see all the time.
Best freshman year ever. Last year, Ron Dane held that spot, but now number 2. First 7 games under 60 yards a game, and now on a roll of 100-yard-plus games.
And the thing about Adrian is he just scares defenses. He just does. And, we talked about Kewan Jones. He's a talented running back, but the fear is not there. And when you have that element of fear and defensive coordinators and guys on the other side of the ball going, listen, man, it's not we're going to stop him. It's we got to try to slow him down. You notice that? They don't say we're going to stop Adrian Peterson. We just got to try to contain him or slow him down. There's already that fear there, which brings an aura to the offense of Oklahoma and to the entire team when he's on the field.
Well, it dictates everything in terms of what you're trying to do with your schemes, how you can blitz, what kind of package you're in. It starts with him.
It doesn't happen a lot on the college level in any sport, but very similar to when you were at NC State, Terry. When you were on the basketball court, everybody was scared.
No sarcasm at all in that statement. I've waited all year to hear you talk about my college days. Kewan Jones back in the backfield. Bomar on 3rd and 6. Play clock. Just got it off. Out to Jones. 1-on-1. Nope. Up to the 48. And the clock continues to run with 4:12 and counting.
Good play by Paul Duran, because you like those odds. You see Kewan Jones catching a pass in open field one-on-one with the linebacker. You're usually going to take him every time, but Paul Duran does a good job of staying with him and being able to make a play.
Good numbers for Bomar. They're trying to get another score before half. Get it back here with a stop. They've stopped Oklahoma State the entire first half. 3 beyond. The sophomore McLemore under pressure. Yeah, there's the flag. He got in his way, no doubt about it. Alan Patrick, a little over-aggressive.
A good thing for Alan Patrick, he had the touchdown run in the first quarter. Or he'd probably be getting an earful when he got to the sideline.
He's got a little bit from Bob Stoops.
Kick catch interference on the 23 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So we talked about the tough loss last week. Just think about, the end of that. They were down 17-7 to Texas Tech. Come back to score a touchdown. Here's Peterson. Watch this.
Manhandled.
Just threw the defender out of the way. So they take the lead. Here's the last drive, the big play to get inside the 5. We'll come back and listen to the last play. If you're an Oklahoma fan, you know all too well what took place on that. Woods out to the 35 and hauled in there. Let's go back and listen to that after we check out this flag.
There's a flag on the play.
Joke and Yanagetcha involved on the tackle and the face mask. So they'll walk that off. We'll go back and listen to that last play last week.
Goal from the 2. They are going to run. Henderson reaches across the end zone. Are they going to give it to him?
No.
He stretched the football. Yes!
Oh.
Touchdown, Red Raiders! Dorian Henderson has the score on the last play of the game. And the Red Raiders are picking cotton.
Chris Jensen to call Texas Tech radio, could you tell? And obviously from the back camera, from that angle, it didn't look like he got in.
What was so painful was the delay in calling the touchdown. That was what was so painful for Coach Stoops and the Oklahoma staff.
The game, you get to the Cotton Bowl. Tossed out, here's Luke Frazier. First big gain of the game. Trying to get to the end zone, down to the 3.
Terry, just like that, Al Pena trying to make something happen, using his mobility to try to get somebody open down the football field, is able to break out of it. You see him right here in the shotgun, he's looking for somebody to throw to right now. And then it looks like he's gonna run, tucks it, then pulls it up just in time, throws it to Luke Frazier down the middle of the football field, and Luke is running.
Darian Williams ran him down before he got to the end zone. 56 yards on the play.
You see Clint Ingram right there at the beginning of that play come across because he thought Al Pena was going to run that football. Gets his hands up, but he was able to see Luke Frazier. Good job of Luke Frazier noticing his quarterback in trouble and continuing to move and try to make the play happen.
It'll be 1st and goal from the 4, but right now out near the 35. They're working on an injured player from Oklahoma, and I believe it's Chijoke Anyanageche. Yeah, it is, number 22. So 56 yards on the play. And just like that, Oklahoma State with a chance to get on the board. And Anyanageche, the senior from California, up and walking off.
See Pena there, Terry, trying to fire his guys up. Knows how big this is to be able to go away with a touchdown before the half. Gotta get something going.
Sean Willis, Julius Crossland in the backfield with it. They separate the backs. First and goal, little problem with the snap. Crossland down to the 1, but flags on the play.
Anxious offensive linemen. They'll always hurt a drive. You know, you got guys lining up, trying to fire off the football. You see it right there.
Not only the movement along the line, but Pena started to pull away before he had it.
Everybody's moving. Here's Corey Hilliard there, sorry, the left tackle. Jumps prematurely.
He expected an earlier count.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a quick count. Usually what you see when you come up in the huddles, especially when a defense like Oklahoma's been getting penetration on you all day, what you see is the guy try to go on first sound. And it looked like that was what most of the guys Oklahoma thought it was going to be, on first sound, get a quick snap and try to catch Oklahoma off guard.
Mike Gundy in his first year, he calls the timeout. They're down to 1 timeout, but instead of first and goal from the 4, it's first and goal from the 9 when we come back. Sooner Schooner did its job before the game, set to do it once again. 2 minutes and 41 seconds of game time at least. Yeah, it's been a long first half for some here. A lot of turkey this weekend. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving at home?
Great Thanksgiving. We had friends and family over. Loved feeding everybody. It was a lot of fun. Nice to be home for Thanksgiving.
It's a good look on that guy. First and goal from the 9 for Oklahoma State. After the 56-yard pass play from Al Pena to Luke Frazier. And then the movement brought it back here. Mike Hamilton, the lone setback. Tommy Devereaux to the near side. Woods to the far. There goes Devereaux. Pena throwing it back this way. An eligible receiver from the line, Charlie Johnson, knocked out. Well read by Oklahoma.
You know, credit to Larry Fedora, just trying to do anything. I like the play. I love the play call. I just wish that they were inside of the 5 when they ran and give the offensive lineman a much shorter distance. But you got the tackle eligible. Pena rolls out to the right. Pretty much fooled almost everybody on Oklahoma's defense. One guy sitting back and he's an offensive lineman. He's not going to outrun anybody or juke him out.
When you're 6'4", 305, only one guy defensively has to read it well.
Yeah.
He's not going to outrun anybody. Second down, right at the line of scrimmage. Crossland, even at 5'11", 240 yards, can't get by Ingram.
Aside from Roy Williams on the sideline, there's one guy, Brent Venables, who's holding his teeth. You just don't ever, Terry, in this situation when you're up 21-0, want to give up any points, much less a touchdown before the half.
That first play, by the way, was ruled a lateral for Charlie Johnson. Pena near the goal line, driven out at the 1. Reggie Smith, the true freshman, hit him.
The thing I don't understand about that play, if Pena if it's designed to run, to keep the ball, why not allow Julius Crossland, the running back, to get in front of you and the wall that Oklahoma defender off so you can get in the end zone? He was short 1 yard. You wait for your running back to get in front of you, or at least to get on your level so you can use his body or use him as a blocker.
No decision here. You've got to go on 4th and goal. Crossland, touchdown Cowboys. Julius Crossland, the former fullback and a huge tailback now. the sophomore from Amarillo, in for 6.
You want to talk about huge, Terry. Good job of Julius Crosland getting the ball and hugging the line. He just hugged that wall, because sometimes, guys, in this situation, 4th down, when your team is down, you tend to just go get the ball and go right into the hole. You get plugged up right in the middle. He did a good job of feeling that hole and finding the crease right there in Oklahoma's defense for the touchdown.
And he's not going over the top. No, he's going straight ahead or side to side. Bruce Redden on for the extra point. Up and good. Some life offensively for Oklahoma State.
You see this right here, Terry? You watch Crosland get the ball right here. You see right there this penetration from Oklahoma. You feel him hugging this little wall right there, coming around, and then he finds a little crease in Oklahoma's defense. And when you're 5'11", 240 pounds, with that type of momentum, you're going to get a touchdown. But it was a good job of him just hugging that wall, coming across for the touchdown.
6 plays, 69 yards, the 56-yard pass from Pena to Frazier, the big play in there. And Crosland, the 1-yard run set up by Sean Willis. Nice block by his fullback. So in this Bedlam rivalry, the Cowboys fans have something to cheer about.
You know, and it was good to see Pena came out in the beginning of that drive talking to everybody in the huddle. It seemed as though he was walking around saying, hey, we can make plays, we can get done. We just got to calm down and try to play our game. Made some plays. He gets in a situation where he's rolling out. He finds a guy, Luke Frazier, big play. Then he tries to roll out for a touchdown. Just really a lot of emotion from him and getting that offense to go in the right direction, calming those guys down and helping them to believe that they can make plays on Oklahoma.
Alan Patrick back deep at his own 5 along with Reggie Smith.
You know, Terry, what the only problem was with that last drive is they left 1:41 on the clock.
Still some time. With the win, this one sails through the end zone. And they'll bring it out to the 20. So Oklahoma will start the offense. Red Bomar, the redshirt freshman, back to the field, who has been very good so far. Through the air, they got it going early on, and then gave it. Bubba Moses, a couple of catches on the first drive, but then Alan Patrick to run to the end zone. King Iglesias with the touchdown catch. Bubba Moses getting 6 on the board. So Bomar pretty good this afternoon. 9 of 14, 105 yards, and the 2 touchdowns.
Vance Bedford, the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State, he likes the blitz in this situation. We're 1:41. You know you're going to see a spread offense from Red Bomar, so you got to do something to get guys in his face.
Under pressure, Bomar throws it to Jones, who's hit right as he catches the football, and there's a flag, a couple of them, in the backfield. That was Peterson on the catch, by the way, and the hold going against the Sooners. It's an important drive here for Oklahoma State. You get 7 on the board, and now maybe some momentum if you can stop the Sooners and get into the locker room.
I tell you what, you know, the Sooners are at their own 20. It's not a time to mess around.
Holding. Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
What you don't want to do is leave any time on the clock. Not a lot of time ran off in that play. It's still 1:35 seconds. About 6 seconds go off the clock. But if you don't get something going and get in a situation where you're going to either pin this team all the way back, you know, Oklahoma State still has 1 timeout left, and you don't want to leave any time on the clock where you can go down and kick a field goal and get in field goal position.
Then goes the ball back to the 10-yard line. 1st and 20.
Jones in at tailback on 1st and 20. And the officials telling the clock operator, go ahead and start that thing. And telling them again. There we go. Omar's going to use it all here with 1:10 and counting.
Well, yeah, you know, just like I talked about, Stoops knows that they're not in good field position, and you don't want to put a young quarterback in a situation where he thinks he has to try to make plays to get you down the football field when you're up 21-7.
Kewan Jones ahead to the 12. Clock continues to run. Oklahoma State now going to call the timeout. 2nd and 18 coming up.
Yeah, well, Oklahoma will just go in a situation where they're going to use all of their downs. You call a timeout right now. If you got to come back on the football field, they'll run another play. It'll be 3rd down. Then they'll get in a situation where they may punt it, but you won't have much time on the clock.
Just does get it off, and down to 1 knee goes Bomar. So that'll do it for the first half. Oklahoma out to the 21-0 lead. And they're going to talk it over now. Is it over or not? Teams walking back to the sidelines. And it's not over till it's over.
Timeout. Timeout. Oklahoma State. That's their last charge. Timeout for the half.
You know, if you're going to call a timeout with the intent of trying to get the ball back and have a successful possession, why not do it early on?
Earlier,
you wait within 15 seconds of the half, or now it's 17 seconds because of the reset, to call a timeout. If you were going to do that, you should have called the timeout way earlier when there was 1:55 left on the clock, and call a timeout then you may have an opportunity to get the ball and get something going. But
once they made that decision after the second day, you figure they're not going to call a timeout. They want to get to the locker room as well.
You know, I don't know. I don't think that it's with an intent to get the ball. Gundy just handed his headset to the assistant, so it's not like he's going to be on there calling plays or consulting with play calling.
Oklahoma State, having gone to 3 straight bowls, not going this year. Lost last week to Baylor. They were down huge in that game. 38-0 at one point. Guaranteeing the fact that they wouldn't be going bowling this year. This is their bowl game. Down 21-0 early. They needed to come back, and they got at least that last drive to put 7 on the board. So Gundy's team down 14, and they're trying to make sure that the two teams, they have to cross near the 20-yard line. One's locker room is at the other end, and make sure they don't come together before getting to the locker room. Down to Dave.
Terry, Bob, other than the obvious effect on the score, how much does that late touchdown concern you?
Well, it's bothersome. You know, you're playing so well. They get one play off of a scramble. You know, I felt like we had good enough field position. You know, I'd hope we had a few more points by now. But hey, we're playing well. We just got to come out and do the same thing in the second half.
Happy with Bomar so far?
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
All right, thank you. Bob Stoops on the sideline.
All right, Dave, thank you. 21-7, your halftime score. Come back to Norman in a little bit, but right now back to the studio. John, Craig, and Aaron.
All right, Terry, thanks a lot. Obviously, in the state of Oklahoma, this game means a whole heck of a lot. But as far as the national picture goes, I think that a lot of people were ready to throw dirt on Oklahoma at the start of this season. They might be rethinking that right now.
And I tell you what it does, too, is you've got to build up perception of your program for next season. So this is prop time now for a lot of these schools, so that next year when these preseason polls come out, they're not starting out at 25. They get a chance to start much higher.
And that'll be the new blood coming in, but we also know that they have some talent up there. I was there in the preseason, and Craig, we talked about that. Oklahoma has some athletes up there. They've just been young.
All right, 21-7 is the lead for the Sooners. We'll get back with more after these messages.
"100 Years of Bedlam" started out with pushing, then it was Patrick, then it was pressure. It was all Oklahoma. Until the 1-yard plunge by Julius Crossland got Oklahoma State back into the game. So that's where we are to start the third. 21-7 Oklahoma here at home in Norman. Terry Gannon back with Jamal Anderson and Dave Lamont down on the sidelines. When you've had only 2 first downs, you've had 4 yards rushing. You got to feel pretty happy about the fact that you're only down 21-7.
Well, exactly. Al Pena makes a play at the in the last drive using his legs, and was able to find the receiver down the middle of the field, gets him in the goal line position. They get the touchdown because it was 21-0, and it did not look good for them. Finally got something going, a little bit momentum maybe now for Oklahoma State, but Adrian Peterson and that Sooners offense is coming on the field first.
Remember that long drop pass? Manuel Johnson had it down the sideline. Would have been 28-0 at that point. You can always point to mistakes and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. But it could be a lot worse for Oklahoma State right now than 21-7. And you're right about it. Adrian Peterson has had a slow first half, only 27 yards. You got to feel like he's going to get it cooking in the second. Oklahoma State to kick off to start the second half. This one, once again, with the wind, sails out to the 20, and we go down to Dave Lamont, who spoke to Mike Gundy just a few moments ago.
And Terry, he told me that he's very concerned about his offense being one-dimensional and having to throw the ball too much. He says we absolutely must get our run game going in this half. When they become one-dimensional, they become predictable, and he wants to avoid that. He doesn't think they're good enough to be one-dimensional. So if OSU doesn't run the ball well in this half, it could be a very bad sign for them. Back to you.
Yeah, we mentioned the 4 rushing yards. Mike Hamilton, who has carried the load for them throughout the season, 5 carries, only 7 yards. But they've got to stop the Sooners to start out second half. Peterson in the backfield along with J.D. Runnels. 1st and 10 from the 20. Here comes Adrian, bouncing one way, cutting back the other. To the 39. Biggest carry of the game for Adrian Peterson, a gain of 20.
You know, pre-snap read, you see Rhett Bomar come into the line of scrimmage and make an adjustment, and you look at Peterson here. You look at the patience and the explosiveness. Does a great job there reading his fullback J.D. Runnels block. Was able to get up there and get yards. And you know, this is what he wants to see. You see him hopping up off the ground, trying to get everybody fired up, getting something a little bit going, getting Adrian Peterson going initially in the second half.
Got a good block from Kelvin Shashan, the senior from Beaumont, Texas, too. Same play, different results. Swarmed under in the backfield. Darnell Smith on the tackle. Our Pacific Life game summary, the first half stats, and look at that, the 4 rushing yards, only 69 total yards, and the 2 first downs.
Boy, you talking about one-dimensional. There's been no dimensions for Oklahoma State until that last pass by Pena to the wide receiver. It breaks down the field, but they didn't have anything going, Terry, until that play.
0 for 7 on 3rd down in the first half. So 2nd and 12 for the Sooners. Bomar's had time all day long. Complete. Iglesias, who had the touchdown catch, out to the 44. His 3rd catch of the afternoon.
You know, and you said the key to that whole play. You know, Vance Bedford, the defensive coordinator of Oklahoma State, he likes to blitz. He likes to mix these things up, especially when you have a redshirt freshman quarterback. But Rhett Bomar has been able to sit back there in the pocket and take all the time he needs to find receivers down the field.
You've got a redshirt freshman running the quarterback spot. You've got 3 true freshmen and a redshirt freshman at the wideout spot. Only Rankins with any experience out there for Oklahoma. Complete near a first down. We'll see where they mark it. Manuel Johnson on the catch. He's one of those true freshmen.
Yeah, that time you saw Oklahoma State putting a little bit of pressure on Rhett Bomar, so he just couldn't sit back there in the pocket. He still was able to complete the pass, but you know, again, Vance Buford said it. You know, we had a lot of guys getting hurt. You know, we had to make adjustments with new players. It's a whole different look for us. He said, just all in general, defensively, having so many guys injured and turning over, they haven't been able to be consistent. And you see right now, Oklahoma's going to go for it on 4th and short.
About a yard and a half shy of a first down. That's a tough spot. Looked like his forward progress may have gotten him closer. Right side, right to the yellow line, but I don't think he got it.
That's going to be close.
Peterson.
He was tackled by James Thompson and Jamar Ransom.
Ransom in on the stop.
I'll tell you what, the defense of Oklahoma is already on the field, so nobody on that sideline believes they got the first down.
How huge would this be for Mike Gundy's club coming out of the locker room? To stop Oklahoma, take over right at midfield. And remember that touchdown coming in the last couple of minutes of the first half. And they had some life as they made their way to the locker room. No, didn't get it.
Oklahoma State takes over.
Vance Bedford's defense holds.
You know, it appeared to me when Peterson got the ball that he was surprised how fast somebody was down at his legs. He didn't even have an opportunity to stretch out and maybe go for the extra yard. He gets the ball, and immediately the fullback gets blown up, but it just doesn't look like, you see the penetration for Oklahoma State. Credit them right now. You see these guys coming across the line of scrimmage. You know, J.D. Reynolds right there, the fullback. The cornerback comes up and blows up his legs, and all of a sudden Peterson, when he thinks he has a hold, doesn't get the first down.
Jerry Don Bray, the defensive end, with that penetration, going underneath Peterson. First down, Pena rolls. Now looks back this way, and well covered.
The pass is incomplete.
Mike Hamilton, the intended receiver, but no room at all.
He has that rollout throw to the back of the field again. DJ Wolf was sitting back there waiting for that this time, and it seems like, you know, where Oklahoma State has got something going offensively, it's been off plays similar to that. And this time, you know the adjustments Stoops made in Venables at halftime. Watch these plays. Watch when he rolls out that he's going to throw to the backside of the football field, and DJ Wolf was sitting right there waiting.
Wolf, who came in with a lot of promise as a running back and has turned into a defensive back and a good one this year. And you keeps it along the right side. Ahead for two. There goes the football. Still loose. Oklahoma's got it. Oklahoma State now signaling they have it, and they did keep it. Boy, how did Darian Williams not get that football? Looked like he had it. You know, and you watch the blooper reels from the NFL and college and how difficult it is, and the football's bouncing all over the ground. Guys are so anxious to get on the ball instead of just trying to get down there and pick it up or just cover it up. They're flying all over the place, and you see right here. Look at their record when they have the same or fewer turnovers than their opponent. 4-1. When they have more turnovers than their opponents, 0-5. They had 8 last week in the game against Baylor. So they lost 7 yards when that ball came loose. 3rd and 17. Woods and Price split wide, and now they're going to call the timeout. Yeah, you see how Pena at the line of scrimmage trying to make adjustments, and at the same time Venables has got his linebackers and secondary making adjustments at the same time. It's a chess match both ways, Terry. Dodge defensive playbook. You're going to watch this on the short 4th down for Oklahoma. Look at Jamie Thompson right here. Watch the strong safety come down and blow up J.D. Reynolds right there, closing the lane for Adrian Peterson, and then Jamar Ransom was able to come over and make the tackle, stopping Oklahoma, not getting a first down. That's the Dodge defensive playbook. Great job by Jamie Thompson. Got underneath to stop it. Oklahoma State hearing this crowd for really the first time since the opening kick today. Oklahoma showing blitz here. They come going up top. Woods out of bounds. They picked up the blitz, but did not get single coverage. Had some help. They picked up the blitz and tried to get Chijoke on and get you out there on his own, and he kind of bumped Woods a little bit. And it's it's a dangerous guy when you got a target like that in DeJuan Woods. Somebody you got to watch out for, who's now laying on the turf on the 28-yard line. DeJuan Woods. You got to be physical and stay on top of him because he's capable of making any kind of play. Woods, the junior from Oklahoma City, who's caught a pass in 21 straight games now in his career. Got 3 of them this afternoon. Looked like he may have run into the cart once he went out of bounds. You couldn't see anything. No, it's strange because he didn't catch the ball, and it was over his left shoulder, and it led him out of bounds. And then he kind of trotted back, and then all of a sudden just stops in the middle of the field. You're going to see the ball thrown out. Pena throws it over his left shoulder. See where he ends up here. Runs into the timeout coordinator working with us. You know what it looked like, Terry? No, on the end, at the very end of that play, as he was extending, it looked like he might have pulled the muscle by extending for the ball. That's the only, because when he pulls up immediately when he drops the ball, when he gets to the sideline, and it was unusual how he broke down. So I'm saying when he was going for that ball, he overextended and must have pulled the muscle there, but he started trotting and all of a sudden just shut it down.
You watch him right here. He's going to extend for this ball, and watch his right leg right there. Now he starts pulling up immediately. You see how he's breaking down? And he hurts one of our guys, Terry.
Nah, our guy's fine. Just fine. We got tough guys working for us. Yeah, the limp after he started to trot across the sideline. In any case, they'll work on him on the opposite sideline. And it brings up 4th and 17. So Matt Fodge, who's been extremely busy this afternoon here in Norman, is going to punt it away to Jawan Rankins. Under pressure again almost every time. Into the end zone, and they'll bring it out to the 20. A 56-yard punt. Like to get a few of those back.
Russell Dennison for Oklahoma 36 has been in on every single punt. I mean, there was 3 or 4 punts in the first half. It looked like he could have took the ball off the punter's foot.
You see, brother, the career leader, and that's what they lose with him if he goes out, over 2,000 yards.
Yeah, and you know, Coach Gundy was worried about being one-dimensional. You lose a guy like this, you turn into a team that has no dimensions. Mike Hamilton's not getting the ball. He's not running effectively today, and they've been trying to throw it. You can't lose your key guy.
Right now, Gundy needs its defense to go to work again. They had a big stop on 4th down on the last possession by Oklahoma, and they stop Peterson again. They do after a gain of a couple. Victor DeGreat on the stop. A reminder, Christmas Day can unwrap an NBA on ABC doubleheader. First, the finals rematch, the Spurs and the Pistons. Then you've got the Lakers taking on Miami. Coverage begins at 2 Eastern, 2 Central, 3 Eastern on Christmas Day. ABC, the home of the NBA Finals. NBA season in full swing. And of course, have the team right down the road here in Oklahoma City. The Hornets playing there. And we have a spot to play in New Orleans after Katrina. Peterson, tough yards all day long for him. He's never really gotten the motor going.
You know, but that's 2 straight plays. The play prior on 1st down with Adrian Peterson, you just got to slow down. He's trying right now to make something happen, trying for the big play. It's just his aggressiveness and him trying to get going as a running back, but he needs to be patient. This is what happens with running backs. I don't care what level you're on. When you really, really want to make something happen and get a spark going, you tend to be too aggressive, and you're not patient, and you don't allow things to happen.
Didn't appear to get there. Larry Brown, the defensive tackle from Spartanburg, South Carolina, hit him right at the line. You know, so that's the 2nd straight time here.
Absolutely, 2 times when Vance Bedford's defense needed to step up and stop Adrian Peterson, and 2 times they were able to do it. You know, the penetration on the defensive line for Oklahoma State, we're starting to see, and we have seen, I should say, this whole game, the defense from Oklahoma State, who has shut down teams the last couple of weeks running the football. It's been no different today for Oklahoma, with the exception of the touchdown early in the 1st quarter.
Brown, the transfer from Georgia Military College, started a couple of games here. Punt off. McLemore telling his teammates to get out of the way. A Sooner bounce down to the 22, so a punt of 51 yards from Cody Freeby, but Oklahoma State takes over when we come back. College football on ABC Sports, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. City Simplicity Credit Card. City, live richly. And Singular, raising the bar. Gorgeous afternoon here in Norman, Oklahoma. Better than 82,000 on hand at Memorial Stadium. Last game of the regular season, the 100th game of the Bedlam series between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys taking over just outside of their own 20-yard line. -3 yards rushing in this game, but only down by 2 touchdowns. Here's the man that needs to get it going, and he hadn't here, Mike Hamilton.
Terry, the last commercial, I contacted the local field office FBI. I said, listen, I want to know what witness protection program is Mike Hamilton in. Where is he? The guy comes into the game averaging 5.2 yards a carry, over 940 yards rushing, and he just has not gotten an opportunity to run the ball. And when he has, Oklahoma's 3 or 4 yards behind on his line of scrimmage. Nothing going right now for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
I'm sure the authorities were glad to hear from you.
Yes.
Only needed 59 yards coming into the game to have a 1,000-yard season. Not close now. Ball up, coming down with it. Incomplete.
As a guy
DJ Wolf was right there.
That guy again, that running back slash cornerback, DJ Wolf does a great job there. And you see Pena trying to make something happen, kind of throws an air ball up, and it's anybody's ball. And DJ Wolf is a tremendously talented player and capable of making plays like that. He does a good job, almost coming down with the interception.
Kenny Williams, the intended receiver. His mom likes to call him Kenneth, so I promised to at least do that once today. That one play, the pass play to Frazier, went for 56 yards. They've had 31 other plays for a total of 3 yards. That is amazing. Inside give, Hamilton outside the 20. That's it. Not much room to run as we send it back to John Saunders in New York. John?
For the singular All-America Player of the Week update, Brian Luke came off the bench, backup quarterback, and ran for a touchdown and threw for this one to tie the game as Kansas came back to knock Iowa State out of the Big 12 championship game. Text the word VOTE to 87654 now on your singular phone for your ballot and a chance to win a trip to the national championship.
Yeah, John, if you're an Iowa State fan,
It's unbelievable.
you had to be thinking today, well, it can't happen again.
You can't, there's just 2 times in a row you're not going to give it up.
They almost got another one. Rankins wanted to catch that, but now at the 15, that's where it was hit. And that's where it will be. 64-yard punt. Rankins wanted to catch it, couldn't. We haven't had a floating touchdown. It's not the ice ball, but Oklahoma State very much in this thing. The 100th edition of the Bedlam Series. The Sooners dominated the first, well, almost 2 quarters, but a late touchdown in the first half for Oklahoma State, getting them some life. Omar on the run, throws out, complete, across the 20. Reynolds, the fullback, still up. Across midfield.
You know, Terry, you love to see that. J.D. Reynolds, the senior fullback, blocked for all the talented tailbacks OU has had the last couple years. Finally gets an opportunity to make a play, and you just see him in the open field cutting back, and you think he's been watching a couple Adrian Peterson highlights. You see Red Bowmar here on the bootleg to Peterson. Obviously, everybody's going to go with Peterson. J.D. Reynolds catches the ball, does a great job of shedding that blocker. And J.D. is not looking to run out of bounds or run anybody over. He's trying to get to the end zone.
Or run anybody over. That's the point. Yeah, exactly. Once he gets it, he's a receiver, not a fullback. That's his 19th catch of the season. The flags and the whistle.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That'll back him up. Dave Lamont, you got an update on Dwan Woods?
I do, Terry. Expect him back in the game. He suffered, not surprisingly, since he ran into our television cart, a bruised right quadricep or thigh muscle. They have wrapped him up with a couple of different kinds of tape on the outside, so you'll notice that when he comes back into the game, but they do expect him to return.
All right, well, that's good news. But, you know, be easy on our cart. On the replay, we showed that he didn't run into the cart. It just our
Dave was on the other side of the field.
Timeout coordinator.
We'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Dave. You didn't see it.
So there's the quad being wrapped up, though, and you should be back out there. 1st and 15. Big hole for Peterson. Closed quickly by Woods, though. There's the brother, Donovan Woods. Flag late. And that's a hold against Oklahoma.
I'll tell you what, though, that was impressive, though. Donovan Woods, a guy who started the season for this team as the quarterback. Adrian Peterson, you know, healthy, arguably the best running back in college football. I say this to you, Reggie Bush fans. He is up there with Reggie Bush, and he's able to make a tackle on him in open field one-on-one.
And when you're a quarterback and you switch to defense, I don't care what kind of athlete you are. You've got to learn pursuit, angles. You've got to learn to tackle. You know, and remember I asked Vance Bedford this, the coordinator for Oklahoma State. I said, how's it been? You know, he's a quarterback. Quarterbacks aren't,
They're notoriously known as not being the most physical people on the football team, but he's playing safety now, and he's got to learn how to tackle in open space, got to learn how to cover, and then you got a guy like Peterson breathing down your neck. He did a great job there.
Still wearing that green shirt in practice with free safety. Incomplete. Joe John Finley, the intended receiver, well covered though. Jamie Thompson was all over him.
Yeah, Joe John would have caught you. Jamie Thompson, luckily for Joe John Finley, Jamie was trying to go for the ball because he could have had that could have been one of those blindsided shots.
All of a sudden here in the second half, the Oklahoma State defense has stepped it up.
You know, they have stepped it up, but the Sooners offensively seem kind of lethargic, like they're trying to find their way. It almost looks like practice, like, you know, where they're just kind of going through the motion. Execution hasn't been there.
Omar has a seam. There's another flag. Hit hard at the 47. Why not slide?
You said it, another flag down. It's like if Oklahoma does execute well and get 5, 6, 7 yards on a play, it's coming back because of a flag.
Another hold. Now, Bomar was hit hard, but I think he might have done more, given out more of the punishment.
He's a tough guy. You know, he's an aggressive guy. He's obviously the redshirt freshman and things that he's done, but he's, you know, capable of running the football. He's got 4 rushing touchdowns this year.
Offense, number 64, 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
You know, and he won't hesitate to lean into somebody, Terry, and try to deliver a blow as opposed to taking it.
Chris Chester, the senior from Tustin, California, of course, having his name called for the first time this afternoon. It's because of a penalty. And all the injuries on the offensive line, they've given up to 21 sacks, only 9 all of last year. And they have really had a problem at the center spot. Chris Bush starting with a broken hand. Chester, normally a center, he's got a broken hand. He had a knee injury. John Cooper fractured a right ankle. He's out for the entire year.
Yeah, you know, and how telling is the sack total of this year with a mobile quarterback? You know, Jason White wasn't mobile, and they only had 9 sacks with him.
Right.
Sitting back there throwing the ball.
Here's the mobility. Bomar with a long way to get to a first down. Tripped up at the 42. Jamar Ransom just got a piece of him.
You know, Bomar's rolling out, and he's got only 2 guys down the field with probably 6 or 7 defenders from Oklahoma State. Has no options on that play except to probably run the ball and get back to the line of scrimmage or anything he can.
Yeah, he had to go all the way to the 39 of Oklahoma State for a first down because of the penalties backing him up. Third and 20 out of the gun, and this one is blown dead. Procedure penalty perhaps against Oklahoma. You get the call here.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 77, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Yeah, so the false start, yet another penalty on this drive. And you mentioned how it looks like practice in some ways.
Yeah.
You're not sharp. There's no edge in practice like there is in a game.
Absolutely. You're kind of going through. You want to execute, but you're not out there breaking your neck to be 100%. And it seems, you know, you got penalties, and this is mental errors. Guys are not focused and concentrating. It's senior penalty day. You know, you got one lineman on one side jumping off sides, another guy holding. It's just execution or lack thereof for Oklahoma right now.
9 penalties already, and there are 4 on this drive for Oklahoma. Well defended. Iglesias, the intended receiver, but Daniel McLemore was step for step with him. Well, that brings up 4th down. Oklahoma State down 21-0. Trying to come back, and the defense playing extremely well here in the second half. Oklahoma allowed that touchdown with 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Some momentum for the Cowboys. And here we are with Cody Freeby, the sophomore from Fort Worth, about to punt it away, and Oklahoma State's going to get another chance.
You know, Terry, what's happening right now with Oklahoma is indicative of a young football team, offensively, and young guys on the defensive side of the ball where you don't close games, you don't blow away teams when you have an opportunity to do it.
They almost got a piece of it. Tommy Devereaux back at his own 33, dropped right there. More college football coming away in prime time on ESPN, 6:45 Central Time. You've got North Carolina against number 5 Virginia Tech in the ACC. Then at 7 o'clock, Notre Dame and Stanford or Georgia. Georgia Tech. Check your local listings for the games in your area. So the Irish, a BCS Bowl in their future. Win this one. And Georgia Tech, always a good one down south.
Especially with Georgia Tech coming off that victory over Miami. It's a huge game down there.
Play action for Pena. Woods is back in, by the way. And down he goes. Calvin Thibodeau, the senior from Houston.
You know, again, these guys, nothing's going right for them right now. You know, you see Pena, everything that's happened for them has been rolling out. You're going to get a look at Mike Hamilton. 1 carry here, nowhere to go, 2 or 3 yard loss. Hamilton on the draw right here, 5 or 6 guys Oklahoma. It's almost like they're just shadowing him. Obviously, the intent is to not allow him to get 1,000 yards. He's not even getting close.
A loss of 5 on that first play. There's Hamilton, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. That's it. Calvin Thibodeau, who just had the big play on the last one. That was his 9th sack. And he makes the tackle here.
You know, and Brent Venables said to us the big surprises this year have been Calvin Thibodeau and C.J. Ayu. You know, these are the best sack totals that both of these guys have had, and they've come up huge for Oklahoma all year long.
Sooners take their first time out here in the second half. Gundy's offense trying to get back in it. 21-7 Oklahoma on top. Got the Oklahoma band. You've got the Oklahoma State band on the road here in Norman, and a full contingent from Stillwater.
You know, Dave Lamont at the top of the half told us how Mike Gundy didn't want to become one-dimensional, wanted to get Hamilton going. We just illustrated how that's not happening. Now you're going to get in a situation, if something doesn't occur now, it's going to be the fourth quarter. You're going to have to be one-dimensional just to score some touchdowns to get back into this football game.
0 for 9 on 3rd downs today. 3rd and 8 coming up. The inside give, dropped behind the line of scrimmage, Rufus Alexander. And you hear the ruse.
You know, that's just what he does, Terry. The guy is a tackle for loss machine. If anybody from Oklahoma is going to be around the ball in the linebacker position, you can count on Clint Ingram, Zach Lattimore, and Rufus Alexander, who now has, you know, look at 14 tackles for loss if you add the one just now. Look at his stats for the season. And that's one thing for Oklahoma that's been a constant. The play of those 3 linebackers have just been really solid and consistent. And through the history, you look at the last couple years under Venables and Stoops, the great linebackers that this university has produced.
Oklahoma took the timeout before the snap, and perhaps it's because of the wind factor. 3:07 left. And the wind certainly will be against them in the 4th quarter. We have a moment. Let's go down to Dave Lamont.
Well, Terry, I'm with one of the legendary Cowboys since we talked with Roy Williams of the Cowboys from OU. Here's Thurman Thomas. You've been very involved. I noticed you've been doing a little coaching on the sidelines.
Well, yeah, you know, ever since Mike Gundy became the head coach and Boone Pickens has done an outstanding job of rebuilding the facility over at Oklahoma State, you know, I've dedicated myself to come down here and do a little bit more of what I've been doing in the past, and to come down here and try to help this program get back on top.
What advice have you been giving out?
Well, you know what? The advice that I've just been given is that don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Whether the score is 20-0 or 21-20, go out there, keep playing your game. Just go out there and continue to have fun. It's a game. It's the last game of the season. Go out there and just let it all hang out.
What is it about this rivalry?
You know what? Records don't matter. None of that matters. How many All-Americans you have, who's the best coach. When it's the Bedlam series, whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, something crazy always seems to happen. And it's just something that brings out the best in both teams when this rivalry comes together.
Well, what advice do you have to get Oklahoma State's offense started here?
Well, you know, I just kept telling them to keep plugging in. I told them the defense was getting a little upset on the sideline because they've been playing one hell of a football game, so that the offense need to come out there and do a little bit better than what they're doing.
All right, Thurman Thomas here. Thank you, guys. Terry?
Hamilton on the right side to the 41. Lewis Baker on the stop. He was a great one, and there have been some in this series, huh?
Fantastic. When you know, how good was Thurman Thomas at Oklahoma State? He just kept Barry Sanders on the bench.
Yeah.
Sounded Valvano like down there. Never give up. Never give up. You know, trying to keep these guys going. But just a tremendous player, man, for Oklahoma State. And obviously, Hall of Fame career in the NFL.
In cold weather. Much of it. 4th and 3. And Fodge on to punt. Had an active day. Rankins does field this one outside the 15, right at the 16, so a punt of 44 yards, no returns. Oklahoma took that timeout, and they're against the win right now, so it wasn't because of the win. They just weren't ready, perhaps. I'm not sure.
And really, I'm not sure either, Terry, why they would take the timeout. Obviously, defensively, they got Oklahoma State where they wanted them, but you're going to get the ball back now, and I'm pretty positive that this drive in particular, you know, what eats up a clock better than a guy named Adrian Peterson. So I know, you know, Oklahoma State has done a good job against him, but they're going to get he's going to get his shots right now.
53 yards in the game for Peterson so far. Gets the carry on first down around the end. He may be gone. Bye-bye. See ya. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
Did I call it or what? Thank you, Adrian. Wow. And just like that, Terry, a great defensive game for Oklahoma State out the window. One play.
84 yards to the end zone. For Peterson, his 13th touchdown this year.
13 rushing touchdowns, missing part of all of 4 games.
Yep. Extra point by Hartley, up and good.
You watch the counter here, you see Adrian Peterson, great blocking up front. Look at the wide receiver out in front of him. Great block by Joaquin Elizue. And Peterson does a great job of breaking in there, and he's just you're not going to catch him. You're not going to catch him. If somebody's not in front of that guy, it's lights out.
Joaquin Iglesias blocking on the outside. Runnels, the fullback who always does his job, and Bush, the center. All 3 of them paving the way for Peterson to go 84 yards.
Listen, I mean, look at the statistics, Terry. The monkey is off his back, you know? You look at him, and he's held up, and he's only averaging like 3 or 4 yards a carry. And the last 2 carries he has, he doesn't get the first down on 4th down, and then he gets shut down in the 3rd and short situation, and he finally breaks out. And thank you so very much for saving me with that Joaquin name, because good gracious gosh almighty. I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Iglesias.
We knew what you meant. 213 yards he needed coming into the game to get to 1,000 for the year. And up until that point, it didn't look like he was going to be close. Now he's got 137. 53 yards just before that carry. And more importantly, just like that, Oklahoma State, which felt, I'm sure, as though it was starting to play better.
Right.
The defense had held a number of times in the second half. They were going to get the offense going somehow, some way.
Right.
Now it's 28-7.
Well, offensively, the Sooners they sleptwalked through the 3rd quarter for the most part till that last play woke everybody up. Obviously, Adrian Peterson, but they're just not. Oklahoma State's not doing anything offensively.
0.
So, you know, you're not going to get through this game by not producing.
Grant Jones from his own 10. To the 26.
You know, and Thurman made a great point, man. You feel for the defense, man, because they've been playing their butts off all game long, and then, you know, boom, Peterson breaks a long run, but just offensively, nothing has been happening for them, and they've done a good job, you know, pretty much keeping Oklahoma in front of them, obviously bottling Peterson up to that last play, and all of a sudden, out the window.
Al Pena back on the field, so Larry Fedora, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Gundy are sticking with the sophomore transfer from Georgia Tech. Throws it back this way to Ricky Price, not going anywhere. Zach Latimer, the junior from Denver. And now if you're Oklahoma, the defense, you've got new life.
Well, it's the difference maker. And we said it earlier, with him being healthy and he has a great play like that. Look, the crowd stands up. The crowd's all into it now on first down on a no gain. And then you get a situation where the defense is flying around for Oklahoma. Everybody's fired up off the one run from Adrian Peterson. What he brings to this program is just incredible.
Alexander showing blitz. Here they come. Down goes Pena. Take your choice. They all had a hand in it. C.J. Ayu was the first to get there.
What penetration. You know, if Brent Venables, it's almost like he had a headset on and listens to what Oklahoma State was calling, because he had the perfect defense and the perfect blitz called on that play. C.J. Ayu there to start off, and then Rufus Alexander is able to wrap it up and get the sack.
Loss of 9 with that sack.
Rufus Alexander, you know, he's a candidate for 3 postseason awards this year. The Butkus, for the top linebacker, Lombardi for the top interior lineman, and the Locke for defensive player of the year.
Pena waited. He had a man open initially. There's the flag. Dewan Woods and Reggie Smith was all over him.
You know, anytime you get a pass thrown like that, and it seems like it's thrown under the wide receiver, Dewan Woods is making adjustments out there, and Reggie Smith is trying to keep him in front of him. You don't want to give up a big play like that to that wide receiver, but it's just a tough break for him because he had good
Pass
coverage.
interference. Defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He had to scramble to recover because Woods beat him initially anyway.
Right. You see him, he's right there. Reggie Smith is right there. When Woods starts breaking down and puts hands on, he put his hand on Reggie Smith first. He does the same thing. They both have a right to go for the ball. If Reggie Smith just turns around and sees the ball coming, that's a no call. You know, Dewan Woods puts his hands on trying to throw him by. Obviously, they don't call that, you know. And then when Reggie Smith returns the favor and he's not looking for the football, it's going to be a penalty.
Smith, the true freshman back there, but he's an immense talent. 4-year starter in high school. He's a starter here in his first year. Got a couple interceptions in his first campaign in Norman. 1st and 10. Pena on the roll. Finally decides to tuck and run. Close to a first down and hit hard. Chijoke and Yenagetcha.
You know, any success that Oklahoma State has had offensively, which has been very little, has been from Pena rolling out. You know, he rolls out, and if he doesn't have anybody down the middle of the football field, he throws. I mean, he's going to run the ball. You see him right here, steps out of bounds right there, and he got the benefit of the doubt with the spot.
9 yards on the play to the 46-yard line.
Just shy of that first down, though. But why not go out of bounds? Why save the punishment? Fake the end around. Down goes Pena. Down goes the ball. Zach Latimer was there. Now they'll scramble. Oklahoma football.
I tell you what a play by Zach Latimer. Wraps up Pena. The ball comes free, and Zach Latimer on the ground is trying to reach for the ball while he's still holding on to Pena.
Gundy's upset. Stoops is celebrating. The 4th sack of the game for the Sooners.
You see Zach Latimer there, does a great job shedding Hamilton. You see the ball out. Look at Zach.
Yeah.
Look at Zach out reaching for the ball. He feels the ball out. He can't roll over and get it, so he's reaching with his other arm to try to pull the ball in.
It looked like Pena would have gotten there and gotten it back, but Latimer just reached behind him. And Gundy, the youngest Division I-A coach in college football at the age of 38, didn't like something on the sideline. Mostly didn't like the outcome of that. Flag behind the line of scrimmage and incomplete.
You know, Terry, earlier in the game, another holding call. We commented several times about how much time Rhett Bomar had in the pocket. Well, with this wave of holding penalties, you have to wonder when they're getting away with them early on, and now the referees are on top of them and calling them.
They're in double digits now.
Offense, number 70, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's 10 penalties for almost 100 yards. .116th in terms of turnover margin. And we showed you that graphic earlier in the game. They're 0-5 when they have more than their opponent.
You know, Falcons and Dan Reeves, a great coach, led us to the Super Bowl. Our goals every week he used to set in Monday meetings. One of the top goals each and every week was win the turnover battle. That is critical to the wins and losses and the outcome of a game.
There's another penalty marker. Alan Patrick in for Peterson, drilled at the 48. So as the clock runs out here in the third, we'll sort this out. Victor DeGreat in on the hit. This one's going to go against the Cowboys. Hope he didn't read lips, but Gundy's upset.
Yeah.
Offsides, defense, number 92. Repeat first down.
So they will go back onto the field. Can't end on that penalty. The defensive penalty. So Oklahoma going to get the wind in the fourth. And the team's back out there. Vance Bedford had to be excited about the first 7 or 8 minutes of this quarter and how his team played, how his defense played. Patrick slices through to the 36, and that will do it for the third quarter. So Oklahoma with the 84-yard run of one of the best in college football, Adrian Peterson, has got the lead 28-7. We're back for the fourth quarter after this message and a word from our ABC station. We head to the fourth, the final fourth of the season. Oklahoma State not going to a bowl game. This is it for them. The Sooners going somewhere, and maybe the Holiday Bowl, maybe the Alamo Bowl. If they win, those would be the ones in play. Independence, the Champ Sports Bowl, all of those part of the Big 12 package.
Yeah, as long as that guy doesn't decide.
I don't think he will.
It's 28-7, a little bit of excitement. Your team's winning.
Had that jolt of excitement in the last quarter from Adrian Peterson, taking it 84 yards all the way in. He's got 137 in the game. Here he comes again. The spin back this way could not get away. And a gain of maybe one. Jamar Ransom with the tackle. If time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. John, Craig, and Aaron with highlights and analysis from all the action today in college football. So the fourth underway here, and Oklahoma State not only needing a stop right now, but they haven't proven that they can really move the ball on offense at all. The 56-yard pass play to Luke Frazier only have 65 total yards. Over the middle, Bubba Moses intercepted, picked off by Woods. Donovan Woods, that's one way to turn it around. The former QB bringing it all the way back out to the 46. And once again, some momentum on that other sideline.
Yeah, and the mistake there for Rhett Bomar is when you're going to throw the ball, you cannot throw it high over the middle of the football field. You see Rhett Bomar here looking at Bubba Moses, and the safety sees that clearly, staring at him the whole time. Bubba takes a huge hit right there, and then Donovan Woods does a great job of picking off the pass.
And he does know what to do with it when he's on that side.
Yeah, you see the deflection there. Bubba got his hand on it and popped it up, and Donovan Woods, the opportunist, was there to make the pick.
So it is 1st and 10, Oklahoma State to start the fourth here. Pena, the play action, going to set up the screen and misfires.
Well, if he would have been able to get that pass to his running back. He had a lane because everybody, if he would have been able to hit Julius Cresson, he had 5 or 6 guys from Oklahoma across the line of scrimmage.
And Crossland, a huge back. There's Woods getting a breather on the sideline. Second interception on the season. Remember, he played quarterback in the first 2. So second down and 10. Throw it up, sideline, it's a foot race. Ricky Price, and there's the flag.
Well, that's an interesting penalty.
DJ Wolf was right there with him.
It didn't look like a lot of contact from our vantage point, Terry, and then it's an uncatchable ball.
And that's obviously what Wolf is saying. Well, we'll see. We'll get the ruling here.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25, 15-yard penalty.
And they do call it against Wolf.
You know, you see DJ Wolf right there on the coverage. Ricky Price, a little bit of bumping, but not a lot of contact. That's a no call.
You know, he's
They're
got
both
that,
putting their hands on each other, running up the sidelines, and I didn't see anything that would garner a pass interference. And then it's an uncatchable ball.
He's got that left arm extended a little bit.
Yeah, Price had his arm wrapped around him as well. Could have gone either way.
Quick throw. They set it up. Tommy Devereaux, and there is Wolf trying to peel the ball away. Brought down at the 37-yard line. Our Pacific Life game summary now through 3 quarters. Look at that on the ground. -3 yards, and the total yards 65 for Oklahoma State. And remember the 56-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, you know, nothing's happened. The statistics don't lie. You can see it right there. Even with the time of possession, they've had the ball nearly 19 minutes. They just haven't gotten anything going.
The 11 penalties, though, for Oklahoma has helped keep them in the game a little bit. Crossland has a lane and a first down. Darian Williams tripped him up. May have saved a huge game.
Yeah, Terry, you said, you know, he's a big guy, and he's definitely not the guy you want in open field barreling down on your defensive backs in the 4th quarter.
Crossland, the only touchdown for Oklahoma State today, a 1-yard plunge. Here he comes again. Dvorak just rode him up to the second row. Dusty Dvorak, the senior who last year was out. You remember, going into that 3rd game, got into some trouble, physical trouble in a bar, and was suspended, eventually kicked off the team. And really, Bob Stoops thought he would be gone to the NFL.
Right.
He wanted to come back. He wanted his kids and his grandkids 20 years to now to come back to Norman and see that he had done something special. So here he is playing in his final game. Over the middle, inside the 10, inside the 5, Ricky Price fighting his way down to the 3. First and goal, Oklahoma State.
And just as we say, Oklahoma State doesn't have anything going. Al Pena thinks something totally different down on the field. You give him a little bit of time, he's able to find his wide receiver, Ricky Price. And again, DJ Wolf was on the cover, so Price and Wolf are going back and forth on this play. Nice delivery from Al Pena. First and goal for Oklahoma State.
Gain of 25. Crossland and Sean Willis in the backfield. Give it to the big guy. Not this time. He lost a yard. Smith and Ingram on the tackle.
Yeah, and you know, Terry, to start this drive, they've been having a difficult time all game long, and this is what started it all. This, to me, a no call. The ball 8, 9 yards out of bounds, and you got 2 guys who have their hands on each other. It just happens. This happens all the time in football, and they call the penalty on DJ Wolf. All of a sudden, Oklahoma State gets this drive going, and now they're inside the 5-yard line.
Crossland, tough going, down to the 2. So it brings up 3rd and goal.
Well, everybody in the stands knows for Oklahoma State, when they get in this situation, there are no wide receivers split out who's getting the ball. Crossland comes into this game with 10 touchdowns, already had the 1 earlier on, so everybody on the Sooner side of the ball knows who they need to stop. Now, what the danger is if you're so intent on shutting down Crossland, Pena can boot. Pena does have the ability to fake it and roll out. You see Rufus Alexander down on the football field, which is not a good sign for Oklahoma.
Leading tackler for the Sooners is Alexander. They'll work on him. We'll step away. It'll be 3rd and goal when we come back. Rufus Alexander, who was down inside the 5. They worked on his knee a little bit. He did walk off the field under his own power. Now they're working on the sidelines on that knee. 3rd and goal for Oklahoma State from the 2. Willis and Crossland, they go quickly. Crossland hit, fights, tries to get down there. Signal, touchdown.
Touchdown machine, Terry. Inside the 5, he's just dangerous. He's a big guy, great pad level, sheds one guy, drags another guy into the end zone for the touchdown. You know, Oklahoma had to be cognizant of the boot with with Pena, because that's what he's been doing all day. Anytime they got something going, but the whole key to that drive was the horrible personal foul penalty on DJ Wolf. That just got this whole drive started.
The interference
no call, the interference, yes.
Crossland with 12 touchdowns, including 2 in this game. Red nod for the extra point, so not out of it yet. Now 2 touchdowns. You got to go quickly. 11:37 left. Here in the 4th, the lights have been on all day long. Very overcast to start the day. The sun broke just about at game time, and Oklahoma going to get this one up 28-14. And Jamal, you've got new life if you're Oklahoma State. Now you've gotten the big turnover, the interception by Woods. You got to break on the call. You put it in the end zone. You still got to stop Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, therein lies the only problem that you have. You score a touchdown. Obviously, you want this to be a competitive game. It's the Bedlam brawl. But every time you score, every time you make it a closer game, you just march 28 back to the football field for Oklahoma.
Taken at the 20. Alan Patrick fought with Reggie Smith for it, and he brings it back out. So you look at this game and what Oklahoma has done. They've allowed Oklahoma State to stay in it. They got up 21-0, and it looked like they went to sleep a little bit. They give up the late first half touchdown, and then in the 3rd again.
Well, it kind of carried over. They gave up the late first half touchdown, then they come out in the 3rd quarter. They don't really do anything, then all of a sudden, boom, Adrian Peterson has an 84-yard touchdown run, and then you come back and they got the break on the call, and they got another touchdown out of it. But again, they're gonna have to stop Adrian Peterson, and he's gonna get the ball, and he's gonna get the ball, and he's gonna get the ball until this game is over.
Other than when he's been injured, they would be the first.
Right. Yeah,
no one stopped them yet. First down, here it comes. AD coming your way, busting through, still on his feet. He may be gone again. Touchdown, Oklahoma, 71 yards.
And I'm not even, my name is Jamal Anderson, I'm not Nostradamus, but you know it was going to happen. You know it's going to happen. Stoops is not going to pull his best player off the field when you only have a 14-point lead, especially not in this game and the things that have transpired in the history of this game. And Adrian Peterson, what do? You're playing solid defensively, pretty much for the majority of this game, in 2 runs, boom, just like that.
He's over 200 yards for the game. He had an 84-yard touchdown run in the 3rd, and now 71 to the house here in the 4th. Hartley, another extra point up and good, and it's as if they're toying with the Cowboys. We'll let you come a little closer, let you taste it. Nope, here it is. We pull it back.
You know, Terry, and I said it earlier, a little bit of patience. You see Peterson break to the outside, setting things up, cutting, moving. All of a sudden, the explosiveness and the power, and he's watching the guy at the end saying, "You cannot stop me." Touchdown, Oklahoma.
4 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Adrian Peterson.
Terry, just look at this. See this lane right here? Everybody, Jamal Anderson included, everybody at home thinks Peterson's running this way. Watch this Barry Sanders-like cut. Boom. This is a guy 6'2", 220 pounds, and look at the explosiveness. Another cut right there. Bye-bye. Adrian Peterson is gone.
I told you this before. If you refer to yourself in the 3rd person again, I'm leaving. 213 is what he needed to start the day. He's got 209, and this one's sailing out of the end zone again for Hartley.
I'm just saying that you look at that from that angle, and what I saw, you think that the guy is going to go to the outside. He's a big running back. You just don't expect him to set guys up. Like, that's what set Adrian Peterson apart from everybody else. Those are Reggie Bush cuts coming from a guy that big and that powerful.
Look at the penalties and the offensive yards. 105 with 11:20 left. Alpena the start today instead of Bobby Reed. The inside give, Crossland, who's come on and played much of this second half instead of Mike Hamilton. Hamilton just 19 yards on 9 carries. Don't forget, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. You think AD might have a chance at that?
I don't know, Terry. He doesn't have my vote just yet. I was expecting.
Got to earn it. Yeah. 4 more yards, and we've got to put him over the top. Pena throws over the middle, got a man through his hands. Devereaux had it, may have had 6.
Oh, and Alpena's got to be so frustrated. You don't have a lot going offensively aside. You know, they did score the last time. He sits back there and delivers a nice pass, and Devereaux drops it. There is no one there. He catches that ball. He has a great opportunity to break up the middle of the football field and score a touchdown.
Tommy Devereaux, the sophomore from Duncanville, Texas, with 13 catches this year. And he had 5 just a week ago against Baylor. 1 this afternoon. 0 for 11 on 3rd down. Sooners showing blitz. Here they come on the edge. They pick it up over the middle. 1st down, spinning, still up. Near midfield is DeJuan Woods. They'll move the chains.
Nice job, DeJuan Woods, on the slant. It was a 10-yard slant route there, and you give a guy like DeJuan Woods the ball. He's a strong guy, a talented guy, and DJ Wolf was on his back, and he's still able to carry him for 3 or 4 yards. You see Pena delivers a nice pass there. DeJuan Woods, all wrapped up, still has the power after the catch to drag DJ Wolf for 4 or 5 more yards.
Slowed down, came back to get that one nicely, too. Crossland into the line, back to the line of scrimmage.
He was tackled by Corey Pennant and Rufus Alexander.
Both Crossland and Hamilton right around 19 yards. But you would expect a lot more from Hamilton. Pena throws. Nope. Incomplete. Defense for OU doing a good job here on this series, with more on them and their coach. Down to Dave.
Well, Brent Venables is the defensive coordinator here, and it's been an emotional few weeks for him. He lost his mother last month after a short battle with cancer at only at age 58. Also, his name was just about the first one that popped up when Bill Snyder retired at Kansas State. Venables is a K-State product. He was a very popular player there. And he told us during the week that he has not talked to anyone and has not fielded any phone calls. And there are other names that are open for the job, but there's no question if his defense continues to put up stiff numbers against the rush like this and other, he'll be definitely a candidate for head coaching jobs very soon.
Tipped up, almost intercepted. Ingram got a piece of it. And Yanagetcha was there as well. Yeah, Dave, it's a natural. And Bob Stoops said that, too. He said, look, there's no doubt. That would be a natural thing. And this guy's going to be a head coach at some point in the near future.
There's no question about it, Terry. The job that he's done here at Oklahoma, and you see it on every level. You see it on the college and pro level. What happens when you win championship after championship, your assistant coaches start getting picked off left and right.
He's taking it up a notch just for the cameras, too.
Yeah.
Ingram,
on cue.
Who almost had the interception. He wasn't at all happy with it. Rankins at his own 16 and a punt of 35 yards. So 9:36 left in the season, the regular season, at least here at Norman. Little different story for Adrian Peterson in the second half. 27 yards in the first, 182 in the second, and runs to the end zone of 84 yards and 71 yards.
Just a tale of two games. Really a tale of two games. And, the first line the players from Oklahoma State, the defensive players are going to say is, man, if we wouldn't have given up those two big runs, well, that's everything.
You're right. And you hear teams say that often about a big player. I mean, Reggie Bush, the same thing. You take away those two big runs, we held them to 56 yards. Well, you can't take those away.
Exactly. They count for a reason.
Straight ahead goes Peterson, and if he got 4, that's 1,000. And he did, no doubt.
Terry, here's the thing for everybody watching this game. You don't want to see them in the bowl. You just don't want this defense. Great job today defensively for Oklahoma. And, Venables has done a good job. They've contained this offense. They've kept them to no yards outside of the penalties and turnovers. And now you got Peterson healthy, rolling going into this bowl.
That's pretty impressive right there. 1,002 yards in a season in which he has missed all or significant parts of 4 games because of the high ankle sprain. There he comes again, cuts back, look out to the 42. Ransom, the only man to stop him, and Reynolds threw a great block to spring him. The injury this year certainly changed his season. I mean, watch it happen here at TCU, going straight into the line. You've had high ankle sprains.
The worst. A lot of players will tell you that you would rather break your ankle than have a high ankle sprain because you feel okay. Middle of the week, you might feel like you can play. Then you get in the game, you cannot cut. You don't have the same power on that leg. It is the worst thing. It's almost like you would rather break your ankle.
And with the injury, 19 yards a game. When he's been deemed healthy, almost 124 yards a game, much more than that here, over 200 yards. Watch out, don't lose yardage now.
And Dr. Peterson.
Go under 1,000 for the year.
Just strong runners, man. And Terry, the great ones, you look at the late in the games, Thurman Thomas is on the sideline. He appreciates this because he was one of those running backs. You can have him bottled up all game long, and then in the second half, the great ones, they just continue to get stronger. That's when they're at their best. Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, the guys who've been a part of this football game here in years past. I remember Quentin Griffin a couple years ago against Oklahoma State having a big game late in the game, and that's just what the great ones do.
Was that something you consciously thought about as games wore on, that you were going to wear down a defense?
That's part of your conditioning. At the top running backs, and Peterson, I'm sure, is one of these guys. You run 30, 40 yards. You run every carry out from your first carry in practice to 2 hours later at the last carry of the game, so you can be strong as the game wears on. And it's kind of your badge of honor, the elite running backs, for people to say, hey, he gets better as the game wears on. He doesn't wear out like the defense. Well, he is just as strong or stronger than he was the first part of the game.
Adrian takes the helmet off. That maybe, I can't get inside Bob Stoops' head, but that may be it. Kewan Jones, the senior, on now, and a guy who's had a terrific career himself. 3rd and 7. Throws complete. Manuel Johnson is gone. 55 yards to the true freshman.
Terry, and I was just about to say that, Peterson's great game overshadows the solid play of Rhett Bomar. Bomar has been solid, hasn't turned over the ball. You look at it right there. Manuel Johnson cuts. Cornerback Calvin Mickens falls on the ground, so when he gets the ball in the slant, he just turns upfield and there's no one there. But Rhett Bomar has had a solid game. Every time he's been in the shotgun this entire game and had time, he's delivered the ball well to his receivers.
True freshman on true freshman. Manuel Johnson on Calvin Mickens, who slipped when he made that cut. And right now he's down at the 22. They're working on him. Working on that ankle. You're right about Oklahoma, though, I think, at this point in the season. It is a much different team than it was to start the season. And you've got a quarterback who's a redshirt freshman who did not start initially in the minds of people, at least going into the season, as the starting quarterback. Paul Thompson, with his experience in the past, he goes out to the wideout spot. Bomar's the guy, and it takes some time to develop.
It absolutely takes time, and not just that. They lost 4 wide receivers. You know, a couple of the guys are in the draft. They lost 4 senior wide receivers. So you come back in, you got Paul Thompson, who was the starting quarterback opening the season, now playing wide receiver. You got Malcolm Kelly, a freshman out there. You know, and then they got a lot of young guys. So offensively, everybody has these expectations because it's Oklahoma. It's like, let him develop, let the players around him develop and get time to grow. And that's going to happen as the season transpires. And now you see, with a healthy Adrian Peterson, and where Rhett Bomar doesn't have to throw every down for Oklahoma to win, and then the defense gelling together, that this is a dangerous football team.
The son of a coach, his dad Jerry, his high school coach, Rhett Bomar. And Hartley up with the extra point, so it's 42-14. So we've seen Peterson, what he's done today, but he's been injured throughout the year. While we have a moment, how about the Heisman race at this point? Is it down to 2 guys? I think most people would agree that it is. But I want to say that.
You know, I feel like, obviously, Reggie Bush, you're watching him right here. Fantastic talent. Best player on USC's team for the past 3 years. I don't care who won the Heisman last year. And then Vince Young, you know, he's had an unbelievable season for Texas. And Texas is undefeated to this point going into the Big 12 championship. But I don't see how Matt Leinart is not in this conversation.
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
He won the Heisman last year.
He's got numbers that should make it to the Heisman.
He's in the top 5 in all major statistical categories for passers, and he's, you know, leading the top offense, arguably, in the history of college football. I mean, he got guys. Jared's already over 1,000 as a wide receiver. The backup running back, or I don't know, 1B, Lendell White's over 1,000. You know, Leinart's over 3,000 pass. Steve Smith is closing in on 1,000. Just unbelievable numbers, and Leinart's the leader of that show. Now, I think Reggie Bush should win the Heisman, but I definitely feel like Matt Leinart should be in this conversation.
Being discounted at this point.
Right. Yeah. That's why that game against UCLA is so huge on December 3rd.
Not one of the kickoffs going this way with the wind, which when we started the game was at 20 miles per hour, has stayed in. They've all gone out of the back end of the end zone. 7:30 Central on the ESPN. The NFL coming your way with the Saints and the Jets Sunday night, and then Monday Night Football, 8 o'clock Central. Al and John in the booth. That is a great one. The Steelers and the Colts. Colts undefeated. Roethlisberger taking on Manning.
And I tell you what, though, that's a great game. But in the preseason, this is why football is such a trip in the seasons and what happens. You look like the Saints versus Jets matchup was going to be really intriguing. Pennington goes down. The hurricane happens in New Orleans. And now both of those teams have been struggling all year long. But that Indianapolis Steelers game is going to be classic.
Pena not giving up yet over the back. What a play. Reggie Smith.
Get a nice lead. You got a little spring in your step. Adrian Peterson running all over OSU. Everybody's flying around trying to make plays. Everybody in his stadium knows in order for Oklahoma State to do anything, they're going to have to throw the football. So the cornerbacks, linebackers, and the defensive linemen are just going to try to pin their ears back and make plays.
Quick out. Crossland hit hard. Turned around, and there was the defender. It was John Johnson, actually, out of the backfield, a big fullback, but he paid for it. Eric Bassey, the senior, who got a start today at that cornerback spot.
Terry, you look at the fire and the motion of the Oklahoma guys and the spring in their step right now. You know, they're just excited to be out there playing football. Obviously have a big lead in this game, and Pena is going to have to, 5 wide receivers set right now. He's going to have to figure out a way to try to get something going for Oklahoma State.
It's been a different year for Oklahoma when you've been to the national championship game a couple of straight years. And I know it's a huge disappointment It was embarrassing, the effort last year against USC, but you're used to a certain level, being at that level, and with the 4 losses this year, no matter why they came about, all the injuries, whatnot, to solid teams, that's tough if you're Bob Stoops to keep a team together the entire year.
Well, yeah, you know, and this is a program, they're just not used to that. They're just not used to that. They're used to playing for championships, Big 12 championships, national championships. Then all of a sudden you come into this year, Adrian Peterson gets hurt, you lose the first game to TCU, who turns out to be a great program. You lose to UCLA. You know, they have the #1 ranked schedule in the country, but you got to come out and play. The young guys that have to step up for you, and they had to step up a little early, but it's been a tough season for them.
Rankins slides by 1 and then slides out of bounds at the 35 on a 47 yards.
But, you know, expectations through the roof around here, Terry. And next year with Rhett Bomar coming back, having played as many games as he has, and the maturation from, you know, getting an opportunity to go through spring ball, probably being the starter early on and getting an opportunity to have these guys develop. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Paul Thompson. Will he be a backup quarterback, or will he move to a wide receiver position just to utilize his talent full time? There are going to be some questions, and obviously Adrian Peterson will be back, and the offensive line will be healthier, and these guys will get a chance to gel like the last group that they had that Peterson rushed for 1,900 yards behind.
Kewan Jones comes out from the sideline now instead of Peterson. There he goes along the right side. And you go back to a year ago, more than a year ago, to start the season last year, when Adrian Peterson came on the scene, and Kewan Jones was the guy at that point, and he worked with Peterson. And every time we talked, and we had 2 games very early on, and he said, you know what, I'm here to help him.
Yeah.
And help him adjust to college football and what it's all about.
Well, you know, Peterson said it in his meetings. He said you couldn't have a better veteran leader for the running backs than Kewan Jones. He's an unselfish guy, a team player, a guy who's willing to do whatever it takes to just be out the football field and help. And that means bringing along some of the most talented running backs, young running backs in Oklahoma history. Then that's what he has to do, and he's done a great job of playing his role.
Hickson along the left side, another senior from McKinney, Texas. Well, we saw Kelvin Mickens down. He was injured on that last possession. Martel Van Zant commit for him, and Dave Lamont has more on Van Zant.
Yeah, Mickens will not be back, it looks like, Terry. They're applying, looks like, some ice to his ankle. They've taken his shoe off. But number 7, Martel Van Zant, is a very unique story for Oklahoma State. He is deaf. He has an interpreter with him on the sideline, stays with him during warm-ups, also available to him anytime he needs him. But several players and coaches have also learned to communicate with him in sign language. They've taken classes. So right now he's out there isolated against Paul Thompson. And a remarkable story that he's able to play big-time college football.
Jones cuts back and caught right at the 40. He was gone, and Ransom didn't catch him. It is an amazing thing to play college football, be at this level. And to be able to anticipate, the sign language is one thing, but also to know when the whistle's blown.
It is, and you know, when I first heard the story, I wondered what that adjustment must be like. It is remarkable that he's able to play on this level as well as he's played with that disability. You know, because so many things happen that you need to hear or feel in the course of the game, and obviously his experience as a player for a number of years has come to his benefit because, you know, guys doing sign language, and you can't hear when people are making adjustments and audibles defensively.
Van Zant, the sophomore from Tyler, Texas. And under 4 minutes to go in the game. Dante Hickson again with the carry. Here's another guy that had an ankle injury, missed a couple of games. Baylor and Nebraska this year. He's over 30 carries for the year, but I mean, there are a number of running backs in this system. Peterson, certainly the guy who's option A, but Kewan Jones, who's rushed for over 2,200 yards in his career. Jacob Gutierrez, the little guy from San Antonio. Alan Patrick, Dante Hickson, a lot of options here.
I'll tell you what,
Jones and Hickson, the 2 seniors. There goes Kewan with the flags flying.
And Rhett Bomar was the lead blocker on that play. You know, Kewan Jones obviously being the veteran of this whole group, but what an option Wilkins was. I mean, early on and scoring that touchdown in the first quarter.
Holding and back up the Sooners. And another injury. Daniel McLemore.
Offense, number 52, 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Chris Bush, the senior from Channelview, Texas, who has played all along that line. Starter as a right guard, as center. They've moved Chester to right guard today with all the injuries. But Bush, a senior, playing in his last game here. Kelvin Shashan, a senior. And Davin Joseph, his 37th consecutive start, saying goodbye. It's a pretty good offensive line when it's healthy.
Always. And then when you can get those guys in on the same page at the same time, it's so much. I mean, you saw what happened in the second half. You know, Oklahoma State does a good job of stopping Peterson, and now all of a sudden he's got these gashing lanes to run through when these guys are on the same page and get an opportunity to work together.
Flags flying again, and it should be a hold. Darnell Smith playing official there, telling you that. 14th penalty for Oklahoma. While we have a moment, in just a moment. Give you our Chevrolet players of the game. Yeah, there's a hint. You think Peterson might be one of them? 237 yards and a couple of touchdowns. He's over 1,000 for the year. And Jamar Ransom defensively with the 13 tackles and 2 for loss. Very active today. Nobody really lit it up on offense, and Ransom certainly a big part of the defensive effort today. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
I mean, last year against Oklahoma State, 249 yards and an 80-yard touchdown. This year against Oklahoma State, he has 237 yards and 2 long touchdowns.
Hickson out to midfield and needs to come off momentarily. Yeah, they had really Jamie Thompson, the other guy who's down.
Yeah, you hate to see this, Terry. Late in the game, outcome decided, guys going down and laying on the football field. You don't want any of your guys to get hurt ever, but especially not when the game is pretty much over.
And they continue. Oh, good. He's up. Well, you're talking about nobody wanting to play Oklahoma in whatever bowl game they may go to, Holiday or Alamo. And, of course, things have turned around now with Colorado getting to the Big 12 championship game. Look very much like Iowa State would get there, and they lose today against Kansas. But what might have been, I'm sure that's what all the fans here in Norman have been saying.
Absolutely, and then you go back to the game a week ago that they lose on the no call, or the no reversal of the call, I should say, from the replay. And you know, you look at last week, they win that game and win this football game, maybe they're headed to the Cotton Bowl.
You're right.
But you know, they did win this game, and I'm telling you right now, the way they've played today, and if these guys are all healthy, and obviously even Peterson being healthy, this is not a football team that you're going to want to see in a bowl game.
The officials can't keep the yellow hankies in their pockets. Another one down on the field at the line of scrimmage.
I'm starting to get the sneaking suspicion that they just like to be on TV.
Nah. No conspiracy here.
No.
We get the call once again from Walter Davenport.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 76, 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
How about Mike Gundy in his first year comes in, and the biggest question mark, I guess, the whole quarterback scenario for them. Donovan Woods starts the year. Then you go to Bobby Reed. He gets injured. Al Pena taking over the last couple of games for Reed and starting today. And pretty much when you head to spring practice, that job's up in the air.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and there's some conversations about them signing one of the top quarterback recruits in the nation. So you know that's going to be an open competition. He just got to find players. And that's the thing. He's got to find some players, especially he's got to find a quarterback. Get a guy who's going to learn this system and understand it. And if it's going to be Al Pena, then it's going to be Pena. But you got to have one guy that you that you believe in, that you instill everything that your system, that you want to get accomplished in your system behind.
But not all coaches feel that way. I mean, some coaches go into it expecting to use 2 quarterbacks.
Right, you want to have a competition, but you don't want to be in a situation where you're rotating quarterbacks in and out.
Or at least they need to know their roles, even if you're rotating
Absolutely.
Whatever they are. Clock continues to run. Under a minute here on 4th and 18. On what has been a gorgeous day here in Norman. Temperatures in the high 60s. And pretty good weekend, huh? Our entire crew here, the camera guys, working Thanksgiving weekend. And behind the scenes, all the people who took off either on Thanksgiving early in the day and missed the day with their families. Hello, John. Or got here late Thursday night, but we thank all of them who allowed us to bring you these pictures. A traditional matchup, the 100th meeting of the Bedlam Series. Down at the 14, and Oklahoma State takes over. Get an update for John Saunders. John?
Well, Terry, South Florida trying to hold on with a chance to win the Big East, but Pat Julmis is picked off by Tyvon Branch in the end zone. UConn wins over South Florida. As a result, West Virginia is the champion in the Big East and will represent them in the BCS, joining Penn State and USC already in. Want to remind everybody, coming up tonight on ESPN at 7:45, Virginia Tech is in action. And at 8 o'clock on ABC, Charlie Weiss and Notre Dame against Stanford.
It's the how did we let it slip through our fingers Saturday here, Thanksgiving weekend, with South Florida, with what Iowa State did earlier in the day.
You just didn't. You never believe that that's going to happen to a team back-to-back years with an opportunity to play in the Big 12 championship, which, you know, you're going to play against Texas. I don't know how bad you want to go there, but you always want to compete for a championship, you know?
No doubt about it.
2 years for that to happen to Iowa State, and then Colorado getting the nod to play in the Big 12 championship has just got to be crushing.
Back to the line of scrimmage goes Mike Hamilton. Tough day for him. Just 18 yards for Hamilton as Gundy heads across to congratulate Bob Stoops. Oklahoma State flying to 4-7 on the year. Oklahoma moving to 7-4. They're going bowling, either Holiday or Alamo, most likely. So your final score, Oklahoma 42 and Oklahoma State 14. It was all Sooners early and then all Adrian Peterson late in this one, the long touchdown runs. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Don't forget tonight on ABC, Notre Dame taking on Stanford or Georgia and Georgia Tech. And then the NFL coming your way on ESPN. Sunday night, New Orleans at the Jets. Or on Monday Night Football, a great one, the Steelers taking on the undefeated Colts and Peyton Manning. So we appreciate watching here in Norman, everybody. For Jamal Anderson and Dave Lamont, I'm Terry again, and 42-14, Oklahoma winner in the 100th matchup in the Bedlam Series.